Hello, hello, hello. How y'all today? Would you believe it or not, I'm running behind. Who would have guessed that? Everybody guessed that. It's not a secret, I'm always late. I apologize, y'all. Get myself together here. Getting this word. Hope y'all are having a wonderful day. Just had a kind of a busy day today. And time has got away from me a little bit. Hope y'all ain't been waiting too long. If y'all been watching me long enough, y'all know he'll be there eventually. Try to get better, y'all. I try to be better than that. But I do apologize. Give just a couple of minutes, see if anybody come in. They might be just as late as I am. Then we'll go ahead and get started. Open up. Yeah, a couple more minutes. I need to put some stickers in a couple of places. Give y'all some Bible tonight. Playing on it anyway. If I don't run my mouth too long. There. Just a couple more minutes while I get myself together. Just another minute while I'm getting myself together and waiting to see who all gonna join us tonight, and then I'm gonna go ahead and jump into this. Until I had a long day. What up, Pat? I'm about to start now, bro. Just put some sticky notes in a couple places so it make it easy for me to get to once I get in here. But I'm getting ready to get started in just a second, my friend. You just want to hold tight. Good to see you, man. I hope you've been good. One more sticky note, then I'm going to start. Five. And this just happened once I get the going, it helped me go a little bit smoother, if you know what I'm saying. I don't have to be trying to flip and go back and forth and conserve a little bit of time, a little bit of y'all time at least. All right. That's it. So got that there, that there. There, put that down there, put that right here. All right, there we go. We are Gucci. How y'all doing tonight? I apologize for the lateness. Got into this lesson, man. I know last week we did, I always do a little review. So we've been going over the series, Go Jesus Your Birthday. And I'm just, sharing with you certain characteristics that you'll see in your life once you really understand the significance of Christ's birth. And so we've been looking at certain things, and we've been on here for quite some time now. Y'all know how I like to draw everything out for some reason, get long-winded. But last week we went over, and we're going to be in Luke chapter 2. We got your Bibles and want to follow along. But last week we went over prayer. We read a verse and we talked about prayer and fasting. And I was going to combine the two. Really didn't have a whole lot on fasting last week. But I'm glad the Lord worked it out the way it did. Because it turns out I really needed to take some time and talk about fasting, give it its own little segment instead of just kind of squishing it in with prayer. But I ended up having so much to say about prayer last week that I didn't have time to mention a few things I had about fasting. And of course I was like, dang it, I really want to go on because they really kind of go hand in hand, as we're going to see here tonight as we go over tonight. And I was kind of disappointed, like, man, I really want to do them both at the same time. But now see, of course, God always works things out the way they need to be worked out. So he worked it out so where the fasting needed its own lesson. So I'm glad it worked out the way it did. And I'm going to get to share this lesson with y'all tonight. So how everybody doing? Brother John Stewart on behalf of Lost Sheep Ministries, sponsored by River Lake Baptist Church, here to bring out another lesson, wonderful lesson tonight on understanding the significance of the birth of Christ. And of course, this series has been called Go Jesus Your Birthday, because this whole thing, like I said, this for the last, this is number 18. So for the last 18 sessions, we've been looking at the birth of Christ, and some of the things that come to our life, that the characteristics that we'll display once we truly understand the significance of his birth, what he gave up to come down here. Because you got to think about it, he was in heaven, y'all. He was where we're trying to get to, and he was there, and he came down here to bring salvation to us. And a lot of people don't really get there. A lot of people don't miss that. And a lot of people focus on his death. And of course, his death is important, but without his birth, he wouldn't have had his death. So that's what we've been covering for the last few weeks. Another one tonight. I'm going to do one more Monday that y'all know is about my special time of year, where I gave my life to the Lord. So I always take 3 weeks and I share the gospel message. I share the message of the gospel of salvation. I share my testimony, and then I share a sermon that I used to preach at the church around this time. So, you know what I'm saying? So this week and next week we'll be on this. Then we'll step away for a little bit. And then we'll come back and finish it up after I go through my little special period. So I appreciate y'all being here for me, being here tonight again. I apologize for the wait. Had to just, it was a little bit more. Like I said, I didn't have a lot last week on fasting. So I was kind of cramming in with the prayer. And then, with the way it worked out, it was like, nope, you need to go ahead and do fasting by yourself. And then I got to work on it, and you know what I'm saying? The levee broke, so to speak. So I had all kind of stuff to say about fasting, enough to have a full lesson tonight. So I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, you know what I'm saying? But I hope y'all enjoy this. And this really, once I got to really get into it, like I said, I appreciate the Lord for letting it work out the way it did, because it's something that we don't hear about a lot. And I get into there in a minute. But last week, like I said, how you doing, Miss Ashley? Appreciate you being here, ma'am. Hope you and Miss Maddie doing okay. So again, last week was point number 3. Like I said, Go Jesus Your Birthday is a series as a whole. This is lesson number 18, but I'm covering characteristic number 22 last week. And last week was a heart for prayer. And I just talked about the importance of prayer, the power of prayer. Something I talked about is people don't realize the power of prayer, and they don't realize that the power of prayer brings the power of God into your life. And anything that God can do, prayer can do. And I talked about how important it is to be praying, how important it is to have a prayer routine, how important it is to have a dedicated time of prayer in your life. And if you don't, you're missing out on a lot. So that's kind of what I covered last week. That was the point I covered last week. If it sounds interesting to you, you've been struggling with your prayer life, you've been struggling to get prayer time in, then you might want to go back and watch the lesson last week. And really, this lesson this week, even though it's completely separate, it still kind of ties in as well. They both, like I said, they complement each other, as we'll see once we get into the lesson this week. But go back if you like I said, you've been searching for something about prayer, understanding why you need to be praying. I think I gave some pretty good examples of why you need to be praying and why prayer is so important. Covered that last week. That was point number, characteristic number 22. So if it sounds interesting to you, then go back and check that out from last week. So tonight, again, we're going to be in the exact same text verses we had from last week, because both of these was mentioned in the same verse. Like I said, I thought it'd be 1 point, but it's going to end up being 2. and for good reason. And y'all see once I get into this lesson tonight. So if you got your Bibles, you want to follow along. We're in Luke chapter 2, verse 36 through, I believe, these glasses. I'm still getting used to these new eyes. 36 and 37 is the verses that the text is going to be coming out today. So if you got your Bible along, and again, I always like to announce I'm reading out the New Living Translation. So if you got a King James Version and you're reading along and my Bible not saying what yours is saying, is because I'm reading out the New Living Translation. Wholehearted King James believer. That's what I read. That's what I do my lessons out of. But I like to preach out the New Living Translation for my ministry because it just puts it in plain English and make it a lot easier for me. And I don't have to spend even more time running my mouth trying to explain stuff. So with that being said, if you got your Bibles open, we're going to be in Luke chapter 2. And again, it's going to be the same text verse from last week, but we're going to look at it from a different perspective. We're going to look at a different element of this statement that was made here. So in Luke chapter 2, verse 36, the Lord tells us this. It said, Anna, a prophet, was also there in the temple. She was the daughter of Phanuel of the tribe of Asher and was very old. She was a widow for her husband had died when they had been married only 7 years. She was now 84 years old. She never left the temple, but stayed there day and night, worshiping God with fasting and prayer. So I'm going to go ahead and go pray, and we're going to jump into this. Dear Lord and Father, thank you so much for watching over us tonight. Thank you so for this day. Thank you for this wonderful message, Lord. Again, I was going to try to cram them all together and just, to kind of breeze through fasting. But as you always do, you like, we need to spend some time on this. People need to really start thinking about this, and they need to hear about something that they're really missing out on, something that we don't no longer take account into today, Lord. So I really thank you for stopping me and pausing me and slowing me down and giving me the opportunity now to bring about this, what I think will be a powerful message on the importance and the power of fasting, to complement our prayers, Lord. I just thank you so much for this day. It's been a long day, been a busy day today. And that's why I'm a little late behind, but I'm still able to be here. And I appreciate you for my faithful people still here, dealing with me and my time issues, and still being here for me, Lord. That's such a blessing. And I pray because they're here tonight that they'll get a blessing from this word. I definitely pray that you will bring their hearts under conviction about the topic that we're going to talk about tonight, and give them the wisdom and the discretion they need to apply this topic to their life, so they can start getting a lot more power in their prayer and get those prayers answered, because they do this thing that they've been missing out on doing, Lord. I pray as always you let your spirit work through me, Lord, to bring forth these truths to your people. And I pray always, Lord, that you let your spirit work on their hearts as they listen to these truths, so they may soak into their heart and they may be able to use it for the edification of themselves and others in their world. As always, Lord, let your spirit guide this session. And I thank you for doing so, because again, I probably messed up and just crammed us all together last week, but you got this session last week, and I pray you got this session this week as well, so I may bring out a truth that'll help others gain this source of power that they can have in their lives, that'll bring them closer to you. Thank you for all you've done and given, and I say this prayer in your wonderful Son, Jesus' name. Amen. All right. So again, appreciate y'all joining. How you doing, Miss Alicia? Appreciate you being here. I hope you, Mr. Leo, is having a good day. Like I said, I apologize, y'all, and it probably worked out good for you, because I'm just getting started, because I was running about 10 minutes behind. And like I said, it's I always, in my mindset, like, I try to be on time. I promise I do, but I'm like, man, it's a video. They can watch whatever. Hopefully, nobody gets upset at me or, was looking like, well, he said 7, he's not here, so I'm out of here. But either way it go, man, those who need to see it would always see it. I always believe in the will of God. So again, we've been studying, the series has been called Go Jesus Your Birthday. I just thought it was a cool title. And we've been looking at different characteristics that you would display in your life, and in your heart, and the way you live and the things you do, because you really understand the significance of the birth of Christ. Again, like I was saying a little bit in the intro, you really understand how significant it was for him to leave heaven, the greatest place ever, in existence, whether it's on earth or in the spiritual world, the greatest place in existence. He left that. They come down to one of the worst places, and be mistreated by the very creation that he made. You got to really understand how big that is. And he came down on Christmas morning, and gave his life, gave his life, and made this sacrifice, so we can have salvation and be able to spend eternity when we go through the door called death with him and his Father. So we're looking at this woman, Anna. So we've been looking at little situation that's been happening when his mom and dad took him back to the temple. We studied the prophecy of Simeon. We looked at him for like 3-4 weeks. 3-4 lessons came out of that. Excuse me. Now we're looking at this prophet Anna, who's a lady. Excuse me, y'all. That water drunken too fast. She's a lady that, again, she had was married for 7 years. It don't say how old she was. She got married. So when we assume she was 84, we assume maybe that she was like, 15 or 20 at the age they got married back then, and her husband died. So she's been the last 60 years in the temple. We don't really know. It just says that she was very old and she was only married for 7 years, but don't say when she got married. But it does say since her husband died, she's basically dedicated herself to the Lord, and she never left the temple, but she stayed there day and night, worshiping God with fasting and prayer. So it says worshiping God with fast. That was her way of ministering to the Lord. That was her way of showing God that, she had her faith and trust in him. That was her way of showing God that she understood the significance of the birth of Christ, because she spent all day and all night praying and fasting. That's all she did. Never left the temple. She stayed there praying and fasting. And again, last week I talked about how important prayer is. And if you really want to get your prayers answered, then you have to be dedicated like Anna was dedicated. But there's also another element, which is what we're going to talk about tonight, is what's something that you need to do if you want to be able to get those prayers answered. You know what I'm saying? You want to be able to get God's attention. So again, it says she never left the temple, but stayed there day and night, worshiping God with fasting and prayer. So tonight's point, number 23, another characteristic you'll have when you really understand the significance of the birth of Christ, you will have the discipline to fast. You'll have a discipline to fast. You know what I'm saying? So though most people pray, you know what I'm saying? Most people don't pray anymore or really believe in the power of God, the power of prayer anymore, which is what I touched on last week. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people, they say they pray, but they say they pray just to say they pray. Like, oh yeah, I pray for you. They just say it because it sounds cool to say. It's the thing to say. You see somebody on Facebook going through stuff, oh, I pray for you. Most people say that and they really don't. You know what I mean? Like, I actually got a list of people that I pray. When I tell people I'm going to pray for them, I actually got a list of people that I pray for, you know what I'm saying, on a daily basis. You know what I'm saying? So, but most people, they don't pray or really believe in the power of prayer no more. They say they do it just to say it because, again, it sounds good. But still, even with that, even if that lack of prayer that we have in society today, it still gets done a little bit more frequently than fasting. You know what I'm saying? You see, cause like I said, you see the comments, somebody post something and you see the post on there like, oh, I'm going through a struggle. I'm having this going on. And you'll see the comments like, oh, I pray for you. I'll pray for you. You know what I'm saying? Or sometimes you'll see somebody post something and they're just straight out like, hey man, I'm going through this. I need y'all to pray for my family. You know what I'm saying? Pray for me, pray for my family. We're going through some things. You know what I'm saying? You'll see these prayer requests, but something you never see. I never see this. You never see anyone say, I'll pray and fast for you. You see what I'm saying? You'll see people say, they'll say all the time, I'll pray for you, but you never see people say, I'll pray and fast for you. Or you'll never get anyone on there be like, hey, y'all, I'm going through some stuff. I need y'all to fast for me. You know what I'm saying? You don't see that. You see people, like I said, you see people asking for prayer all the time. You see people saying they're going to pray all the time, but you never bring up fasting. You know what I'm saying? Every once in a while, you might see some pastor might have something going on, and he might, you know what I'm saying, call for a fast. You know what I'm saying? But outside of that, you really don't see a request for fasting off. I know I got a good friend of mine, a good buddy of mine. He's a minister as well. My boy Quez, he used to be my barber when I had her, and he's a minister. And he's the only other person I've seen that is requested like fasting, like or talked about fasting other than myself. You know what I'm saying? So we don't see fasting brought up a lot. And you got to wonder, why is that? Because when you look through the Bible, when all of when the guys, the prophets and David, all these guys, when they really had something that they need to get done, they didn't just pray, they prayed and fasted. Each time it said through prayer and fasting, you know what I'm saying, these things were done, these miracles was done. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, and you really, when you read the Bible, a lot of time when you see prayer, you see something about fasting. They really kind of go hand in hand, like I was talking about. And that's why I wanted to kind of do them both together last week, but the Lord told me, no, take your little time and spend time on fasting and just get people thinking, why do we not hear about fasting more often? Why do you never really get any requests for fasting? Why do you never see anybody say, I'm a fast and pray for you? You know what I'm saying? Why is that? You know what I'm saying? Why have we really walked away from the idea and the concept of fasting? You really don't hear people talk about it much these days. You really don't see people do it that much these days. Why is that? It's because, you know what I'm saying, they quick to pray, but they're not quick to fast. And the reason why is because it takes some, even though it takes some effort to pray, you know, and we talked about it last week, again, setting your routine, having some set time to pray. We talked about it last week. Yes, it takes effort to pray. And I'm not saying just don't pray. You definitely want to pray because it takes effort to pray, but really that's bare minimum effort. You know what I'm saying? But fasting is on a whole nother level. Fasting takes some dedication. You see what I'm saying? Fasting takes some dedication because not only it takes dedication, it takes discipline, it takes self-control, and it takes humility. You know, and that's characteristics. If you look at our society today, those four, dedication, discipline, self-control, and humility, those are characteristics that our majority of our population no longer exhibit. You rarely see anybody dedicated to anything that's not for themselves. You rarely see anybody having a discipline anymore. You know what I'm saying? You rarely see anybody having the self-control anymore, and you definitely don't see people humble. Everybody want to be the GOAT. You know what I'm saying? Everybody want to be the GOAT. You know what I'm saying? And the reason why is because the world has programmed us and given us this mindset to believe in YOLO. You know, for you older people that don't know what YOLO means, you only live once. So since you only live once, go out and do anything you want to do and whatever feels good to you, whatever pleasures you want, whatever women you want, whatever men you want, whatever drugs you want, whatever alcohol you want, whatever foods you want, even though you know you don't need to be eating all those donuts, whatever you want, just go ahead. If it feels good to you, then do it. And that's what the world teaches us these days. And see, the thing with fasting is just the opposite of that. And that's why you don't hear about it anymore. That's why a lot of people don't do it anymore. Fasting in the opposite. Fasting says if you really want the power of God on you, then you need to deny yourself these pleasures. And you need to take yourself away from these things that feel good from you and spend that time that you will spend doing these things, you know what I'm saying, pleasuring yourself and doing these things that bring you pleasure. Take that time and substitute that with time that you're doing stuff for the Lord. See, that's what fasting do. So that's why it's so hard. That's why you don't see too many people talking about fasting anymore. Or like I said, sending out fasting requests and stuff like that. It's always pray. And like I said, pray is good. Don't get me wrong. We talked about that last week. We talked about the importance of it. But you should, if you're doing all this praying, especially if you're praying for our world, you're praying for our country, you're praying for your family, you're praying for your kids, then you need to be fasting as well. You see what I'm saying? Because the crazy part is, like I said, people are quick. You know what I'm saying? The people are quick to pray, but they slow to fast. And we always hear when somebody's going through some stuff, especially when you're dealing with like things like addiction. I think most of us has dealt with most of the people in my ministry that, and I know most of the ones on here because I've talked to you personally, has dealt with addiction before. You know what I'm saying? We've dealt with people that's going through addiction before, whether it's like sex addiction or drug addiction or alcohol addiction. And when you're dealing with people that's like, and people that are getting at a very low point because they deal with these addiction, well, we all say, man, they fighting their demons. Let's just pray for them because they fighting their demons. And that's one of those things where it sounds good, sounds great. Pray for them because they fighting their demons, because that's true. But you got to understand, some demons can't be defeated without fasting. That's the crazy part. Oh, we praying for them because they fighting their demons. We praying for them, we gonna pray for them, they fighting their demons. But what did Jesus say? Yeah, I remember a situation. I think Jesus was off praying. I think he was on the mountain. I think it was him, Peter. He only took 3 of the disciples. I think it was him, John, and Andrew. And he took them up and he went to pray. I think it was matter of fact, it was when they had when he went up on the mountain and he got transfigured and Moses and Elijah came back and talked to him. You know what I'm saying? And came back and talked to him and everything. And then when he came back down, he saw a big crowd. And he's like, man, what's going on? And he's like, well, because, his disciples at this point, they had the power to cast out demons. So the dude came to Jesus like, man, I brought my son to your disciple to cast these demons out. And this demons out, they've been casting demons out everywhere else. And they couldn't cast this demon out. And what happened to Jesus? He got pissed. He said, man, how long did he be like, how long I gotta be with you niggas before y'all get it? Like he said, bring the child to me. Bring him to me. So, you know what I'm saying? Of course, he did his thing. Bam. The demon was gone. So later on, the disciples, at this point, they're embarrassed. So they go back to him and be like, well, why can we do it? He said, because this kind of demon, you can only get out by praying and fasting. See what I'm saying? The prayer wasn't going to do enough. You know what I'm saying? When they were trying to cast the demon out, yeah, they praying over the child in the name of Jesus, but they didn't have the fasting to go with that prayer, so they didn't have no power behind that prayer. See, that fasting put that power behind your prayer. So you can't pray for somebody's demons. You can't pray for somebody that's fighting demons if you're not fasting with your prayer, because you might not have. Now, if it's one little small, weak demon, then maybe you'll help them out. But if it's one of those like the ones the disciples themselves can get it out. And Jesus said, why we couldn't do it, Jesus? Because this one only goes by what? Fasting and prayer. That's over in Matthew. I meant to look it up beforehand, but like I said, I was running a little bit behind. But you get in the Bible and find it. That way you get you some Bible in. But he says prayer and fasting. So again, you can't be praying for people fighting their demons. You can't even fight your own demons. You know what I'm saying? If you're not praying and fasting, because that fasting, adds to your prayer. You know what I'm saying? You see, because fasting and prayer, like I said, they are meant to go hand in hand. You know what I'm saying? We often separate it, and we think the prayer, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, like I said, the prayer, the good part, and yeah, definitely, you know what I'm saying? The prayer, the good part, and that's what you want to do, but we forget about the fasting. But if you look at the Bible, like I said, most of the time I say fasting and prayer. They supposed to go together. They complement each other. You know what I'm saying? They complement each other. It's like a husband and a wife. You know what I'm saying? Like I love my wife, and I have no doubt that I would have been somewhat successful without my wife or without getting married. I have no doubt, because I've always been driven. But I know without a doubt, I wouldn't be as successful as I am without her pushing me, without her support that she's giving me. You see what I'm saying? Like I would have been good. Like Fabulous had a song, and it's one of my favorite songs that when I always think about my wife. He said I'm a movement by myself, but you I'm something better. I think when I'm movement by myself, and the base of the song is you make me better. And he's talking about, he said, man, I'm good. I'm a beast by myself. But with you, I'm magnificent. And that's how prayer is. They complement each other. You see them, they complement each other. You know, prayer is good by itself, but when you put fasting behind it, man, that's some powerful stuff. So it's like a husband and wife with like peanut butter and jelly. You know what I'm saying? You can't have peanut butter and jelly unless you want to, you know what I'm saying? But both of those will do well alone. You can eat you a peanut butter sandwich or you do a jelly sandwich. But man, when you put the peanut butter and jelly together, they're just, that's for me. I love it. Unless you're one of those weirdos. There's some weird people that don't like jelly, or some weird people that don't like peanut butter. You know what I mean? You just a weirdo. But it's the same thing. They complement each other. You see what I'm saying? And that's why fasting is so important, because especially when it pertains to your prayer life and getting your prayers answered, especially when you're dealing with some really deep problems or really hard problems. You know what I'm saying? That fasting, you got to get the fasting in. You know what I'm saying? Because just like I talked about last week, prayer is powerful, and there's no doubt about that. But fasting, it put you in the mindset of it. If fasting is like giving your prayer a steroid shot. You see what I'm saying? Fasting is like, with praying is you in the gym. You know what I'm saying? Praying is you in the gym. Fasting with your prayers like you in the gym and you're on them roids. You know what I'm saying? You're going to be super pumped. You're going to be super powerful. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what it does. It gives that prayer a boost. It gives because what it does, it really gets God's attention. And that's what fasting does. It's your way. You got to think about there's 8 billion people on the planet. And of course, most people don't pray, like I said earlier. But there is a significant amount of people that pray. So how do your prayer make it through the crowd? Now, of course, it says Jesus and the Lord hears every prayer. And that I don't doubt. But what makes your prayer stand out when he got so many coming in? When he got thousands of prayers coming in at him every day? When you got Big John that's praying 3 and 4 hours, getting on his nerve every day? What's gonna make your prayer stand above, you know what I'm saying, my prayer? You see what I'm saying? It's just like this. And I was thinking about this example came to me, and the Holy Spirit had to give me this. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, let's say you're in a crowded room somewhere. Or maybe you at a club or at some kind of sport event. You somewhere and it's a lot of people. And let's say you're in a room or a club or whatever, and it's a lot, it's packed, wall to wall, people everywhere. You know what I'm saying? It's jam packed. And you see your friend, but he on the other side of the room. You know what I'm saying? And you need your friend for whatever reason. You got something going on. Maybe you in the club in Memphis and you about to get jumped. Because that happen a lot of Memphis. That's why I don't go to the club. Because every time my cousin went to the club, they got to fight and somebody got to shoot. You know what I'm saying? So they just say you in the club. And you in there and you all of a sudden you came across some dude that you didn't like, or you got to beef with somebody. So you about to get beat down. And all your only hope is to get out of this beat down, or at least get help with this beat down, and to get the attention of your friend. But guess what? He all the way on the other side of the club. And it's packed. You know what I'm saying? He's on the other side of the room. It's an emergency. You need to get to him now. You don't have the time to weave through all these people. You know what I'm saying? You need to get to him now. You ain't got time to try to go around people we do. You need to get to your boy. He need to know, man, I'm in a dire situation. I need you. Now, everybody's talking because it's the club. Probably got music playing loud. Everybody's talking and it's loud. So you need to get to your friend immediately. How you going to do that? Now, just so happen, because you're in the club, let's say you over there by the DJ booth. You in the club, but you over there by the DJ booth, or if you at a game or something, you by the broadcast booth. And usually in the DJ booth or the broadcast booth, they got what? They got a microphone. So now you got a couple of options. You can either try to raise your voice to get above the noise in the club and get above everybody else running their mouth in the club, and hopefully, like, my voice carries pretty good because I got a deep voice and I can get loud. But if I'm in a club or a situation where it's full of people, that enough people talking, they're gonna drown out there. You know what I'm saying? So you can try to do that. You can try to do it on your own and just, man, maybe if I yell enough, my boy will hear me and he'll come my rescue. So you can do that. Or since you bought a DJ booth or the broadcast booth, you can go over there and grab the mic. You know what I'm saying? Or actually, DJ let you get your mic. Hey, man, DJ, this is a murder. Let me get that mic, bro. You know what I'm saying? And you get on the mic, and when you get on that mic, what that mic gonna do? It's gonna amplify your voice to where not only will your friend hear you, everybody in the club will hear you. You see what I'm saying? Because you got that microphone. It amplifies your voice, and it's going to get your friend's attention. So now, which one you think your friend is going to respond to quicker? Is he going to respond to you yelling at the top of your lungs? Maybe your voice pierces ears on the other side. And if he's talking to some girl or some occupied, he might still not be paying attention. You see what I'm saying? Even though you're yelling. He be like, man, I don't know who they're yelling. This girl fine. You see what I'm saying? So what's going to get his attention quicker? You just yelling, trying to out yell and talk over the noise, or you get on that microphone and you call, hey, I need you. He's going to look around immediately because he's going to recognize your voice. You see what I'm saying? Which one is going to respond to quicker? He's going to respond to that call through that mic, because that mic has just amplified your voice and it gets his attention. And that's what fasting is. Fasting is that microphone. It amplifies your voice. It amplifies your prayer. It helps your prayer sift through weave through all the noise and all these fake prayers that people doing because, I'm praying for you and they really got no heart in the prayer. They just saying it. It helps weave through all that, and it goes straight to the heart of God. You know what I'm saying? It helps your prayer stand out above everybody else's. You see what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Everybody that don't have that discipline to put fasting with their prayer, it helps your prayer get over all that. You see what I'm saying? And now, it's not to say, don't give me this misconstrued. I'm not saying it's going to make your prayer more important than somebody else's. I don't want anybody saying, oh, his prayer is important because he didn't fast. I'm not saying that at all. That is not what I'm saying. I'm not saying those other prayers ain't as important as yours, but it's just they don't stand out as much because they're not amplified by the fasting. So again, it's about popping. What's going to make you pop? Matter of fact, I got a little bit of an announcement. I said I'm going to wait to the end, but it goes right here. You know what I'm saying? I got this young man that's been watching, started watching my lives a few weeks ago, and this show you how God works, y'all. It just so happened that he used to be friends with my kids when we lived in Murfreesboro, 10 some years ago. They was friends. So it's been at least 10 years since I seen this young man. And he just because we friends on Facebook, he just happened to start listening to my live. And he's like, man, he said, Mr. John, he said, it's so good to see you. He said, man, I'm glad you're still doing your ministry. He said, I just started listening. He said, I've been, thinking about getting my life back together with God. And I just happened to come across your stuff, and you're the only middle pastor I've seen that I can relate to. He said, so I've been listening to him. He said, the Lord put on my heart to want to help you with your ministry. Like, what can I do for you? He said, I like to build websites. He said, I noticed you don't have a website or anything like that, and you just post a video. He said, I like doing it just for fun. He said, if you don't mind, I'd like to set you up something. So I got a guy right now, a big shout out to my guy. If he's watching this right now, Dylan Etheridge. He's building me a website. Lord willing, is gonna go live like this weekend. He already got it basically built, the template built, but we got some things, some changes we're gonna make to it and whatnot. But we're gonna go live. I'm gonna have a Lost Sheep Ministry website where people can you can kind of get on the website, put in prayer requests. You know what I'm saying? If you need to got questions, you can, you know what I'm saying, it's going to be a button for that. You know, he put it, my wife kind of gave me an idea. She's like, man, you be doing all this work, you know what I'm saying? Maybe the people can, you know, help take care of it, because y'all know we've been in a bad situation. So if you want to donate to the ministry, you're going to be able to do that, all kind of stuff. And then, but what led me to that was, he was telling me, he said the reason why, he said, you can probably get more views if you can get your videos to pop. In other words, he said, there's certain things you got to do to get yourself out there. You know what I'm saying? To get so people can, he said, you know, make some shorts. He said, all your videos like hours on long. He said, you got to make some shorts and just put like, you know what I'm saying, highlight certain points and put that in there. And then, you know what I'm saying, he said, even when you do your shorts, you got to put the lettering got to be a certain way. And you got to, you know, your title got to be a certain way. And he said, it got to be a certain color. He said, if you do these things, you put certain hashtags on there. He said, you do all these things, man, your videos will pop. And he said, I won't be surprised if your ministry start going. He said, man, I just really want, he said, God put on my heart to do this. He said, I really want to help you out. You know what I'm saying? So he's working on, like I say, he already sent me the template. I already got the website built, got the address, and it should go live, like I said, sometime this weekend. Probably by the next video, I'll let you guys know. But I have my own website. So, you know what I'm saying? So basically, I still be doing my lives here, and then he's going to post it on my website. He's also going to create me another Facebook page specifically for the ministry, because right now I'm just going through my personal Facebook page. So he's also going to create me one specifically for the ministry. So I say all that to say, he like, the thing is, you got to get the pop. He said, you got to do something to catch people's attention. You know what I'm saying? He said, you do that. And he said, man, what you're saying and how it's he said, touched my heart. You know what I'm saying? He said, what he's saying, he said, I think you can help a lot of people. He said, I want to help you get there. You know what I'm saying? So, and he was talking about, and he was telling me the things I need to do to get their attention. So back to our lesson, that's what I'm saying. That's what fasting do when in relation to God. It gets God attention. You see what I'm saying? Because fasting, what it does is supplements your prayers, and it brings the true power of God into those prayers. You see what I'm saying? It brings the power of God into those prayers. I don't know, man. I don't know about being an influencer, Ashley. Those guys tend to get weird. I'm going to stay me. You know what I'm saying? If I get to a point where I got to change me to be an influencer, then I'm going to cut that out. You know what I'm saying? But he just said he really think, you know what I'm saying, to him, and he's going to do it. You know what I'm saying? So again, he been giving me little things to do. You know what I'm saying? He said, yes, you're bringing a word, but if you let me set up this website, if you let me do these shorts, if you let me do these things, then guess what? It's going to enhance. You see what I'm saying? Your ministry is going to enhance your videos. It's going to get your videos to pop. So I'm like, man, I think, and he's I don't want no charge, no money. He said, I just do it in my free time. So I like to do it anyway. He says, so I might as well do it to help the ministry. And I'm forever grateful for it, because that's what I've been wanting to do. I'm not very technological, as y'all can understand. That's why I still hold up the paper, and I can learn it if I sit down and did it. I just don't have the time to sit down and do it. So that's perfect. That's how God works. He brought that man, the young man along, and he's wanting to do it. You see what I'm saying? But again, he was telling me things that I need to do to supplement my videos, to supplement this word. You know what I'm saying? He's telling me if I do these things and I supplement the word with all these technological advances, so I got TikTok now, I got Instagram now, YouTube, so all that stuff. We're going to be putting shorts on Instagram and YouTube, and we're going to be doing all that over the next few weeks. So this ministry will start growing, and it's right in time for my 21st birthday. You know what I'm saying? For as far as the ministry. So it's just a blessing. You know what I'm saying? It's just the next step in the process. It's the evolution of the ministry. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen, but I do know the Lord worked this out when this young man came in. But again, he was telling me what I need to do to get more views. Not necessarily because, I just want more views being influencers. He said, man, I think people need to be hearing this. He's like, man, this has really been touching. Matter of fact, the first video he watched, he tagged like 3 or 4 people in. He said, hey, y'all need to start watching this. And that's when he reached out to me a couple of weeks later, like, man, I've been watching this, and man, it's really been helping me, kind of thing. And I want to help other people, get out there for other people. So he was telling me things I need to do with pop. So in other words, he was giving me information on what I need to do to supplement this word that I'm giving y'all. You see what I'm saying? And again, that's what fasting do to your prayers. It supplements your prayers, and it brings more power to your prayers. There's already prayer, and power in prayer, like I said. But like I said, the fasting, it just gives it like a steroid shot. You know what I'm saying? And again, and the reason why it does that, because what it does, fasting shows God that your dedication. You know what I'm saying? Those five characteristics I was talking about earlier. It shows God that you're dedicated because you're denying yourself. Something that you should be able to freely have, you're denying yourself. It shows your discipline. You know, it shows your humility. And it shows, your self-control. Excuse me, y'all. Sorry. Drunk too much water before I started. It shows your self-control. And because it does, it shows God that because you have these characteristics, fasting do this. All four of those characteristics, fasting will show those characteristics to God, and it shows God that you're someone that he can use. You know what I'm saying? So it's not just a situation when you go to him in prayer that you're begging and he going, and you know what I'm saying? And if he bless you with something, it's not going to be no return for him. No. You show God that not only are you looking to use him to get whatever the blessing that you need, he can also use you as well. It's a mutual. You know what I'm saying? And the relationships always work out so much better when they're mutual, when you're both, you know what I'm saying? A lot of times you see when relationships don't last, and I get to that, Pat. They got to stay tuned, and I'm going to get to that in a little bit. This is still the introduction. I'm going to tell you what you need to do. You know what I'm saying? But, and it's different for everybody, but that's going to be my next subject. I'm about to roll to that in a second. But again, you know, you may be looking to use him, but he also knows because you have these characteristics, because you're fasting and you're displaying these characteristics, he can also show him that he can use you. You see what I'm saying? And the thing is, the more, and it sounds like it's hard to do, and it's really not, because the more you understand the significance of the birth of Christ, the more those characteristics will develop. And it won't be a hard thing to just give up those things, especially when you know for a fact that it's getting you closer to the Lord, and it's giving you, closer to the Lord, and it's giving you, you know what I'm saying, more power in your prayers. You see what I'm saying? And like I said, prayers are already they're already powerful. And fasting to it, it's just that much better. You know what I'm saying? It's just that much better. You see what I'm saying? I can't believe they're fabulous and they're fabulous song all the time, but I'm just having a brain fart. You know what I'm saying? But again, you know, the more you understand the significance of the birth of Christ, the more these characteristics will develop. And the more they develop, the more likely you are to have the discipline to fast. You see what I'm saying? And like I said, adding fasting to them prayers, that's how you get them prayers answered. That's how you really get them answered. If you feel like your prayers ain't been answered, maybe start adding some fasting to those prayers and see, because like I said, it gets God, it amplifies the prayers that you're putting out there. It helps you stand above all the other noise. Because like I said, you got so many people putting out arbitrary prayers just to do it, just to say they did it. You know what I'm saying? Their heart's not really in it. But when you're fasting, you want to get God's attention. You fasting. Again, we're gonna get into some examples here. When you're fasting, they're really good. God, man, he's serious about this. Whatever it is he needs, he's serious about. He didn't gave up no drinking for a week. He didn't gave up no sex for a week. He didn't gave up this. You know what I'm saying? I know he can't go without this, and he didn't gave it up for me. You know what I'm saying? It's all kind of different fasting. I'm gonna get to the Pat because I know you got a question. But again, God is more likely to answer prayers that's accompanied by fasting because he knows. And another thing to do, because again, it displays these characteristics of dedication, discipline, humility, and self-control. So that's why he's more likely to answer those prayers that's accompanied by fasting, because what it does, it shows him that if he gives you these blessings that you're praying for, it's not going to corrupt you. You see what I'm saying? It's not going to corrupt you because you have the discipline, because you have the self-control, because, you know what I'm saying, because you are in more control of your flesh than your flesh is of you. And that don't always happen. We look at Solomon. What happened to Solomon? Solomon prayed. You know what I'm saying? He prayed. Now, he didn't fast and pray, but it didn't say he fasted and prayed, but he did pray. And he asked God for wisdom. And God gave him the wisdom, and also God gave him everything else. But what ended up happening? It corrupted him. Toward the end of his life, he had 700 wives, 300 concubines. I mean, I don't know how he did that, bro. I can barely deal with one. 1,000? That is insane. Was he smashing all of them all? I don't know. I don't know where my mind go. But anyway, it took him away. So God blessed him with what he asked for in prayer, but he didn't have the self-control to handle it when he got it. And that's why a lot of times God don't give us the things that we're asking for. He don't give us that grace because he know that if he give it to us, it might actually pull us away from him like it did Solomon. So that's why when you go with the fasting with that prayer, it shows him that, oh, he got the discipline. You know what I'm saying? I can give it to him and I can trust him with it. And I know he's not going to use it just for himself. He's going to use it for my glory as well. That's what it does. You know what I'm saying? So now to get to your question, Pastor. Now, you may be saying to yourself, which obviously Patrick have. You know what I'm saying? Brother John, you got me convinced, and I'm going to start fasting, but how do I fast, and what's the best fast? And actually, I already answered it for me. I can't tell you that. There's not something I can tell you. I can't tell you what's best for you. I can't tell you the best kind of fast for you. That's something you're gonna have to seek God's guidance on. So, Ms. Ashley, you asked the question and answered it, but I already got it wrote down here, Ashley. So I beat you to it. But I appreciate you. That's one of mine right there. You know what I'm saying? But she's true. I can't tell you. I'll be a liar. I say, oh man, you got to do this and do that, and I'll be a liar. I can make suggestions for you. I can tell you what I'm gonna do here. I'm gonna tell you the type of fasting that happens. I'm gonna tell you the kind of some times that I use in my fasting. I'm gonna use myself as an example, but I can't say what's good for you. That's something you got to go to God and ask God, what should you fast on, and how long should you fast? So and actually, I appreciate you. You got your boy back. I appreciate you. Like I said, that's one of mine right there. 6 years strong. So I guess some seeping in. I love it to death. You know what I'm saying? But again, if you want guidance, you got to go to God. You got to ask God. You know what I'm saying? Got to ask God what's best for you or what He wants you to do. So again, I can't tell you how long to fast. I can't tell you which type of fast to do, but I can tell you what I'm gonna do with y'all. Because like I said, most people don't talk about fasting anymore. So I'm gonna go over different types of fasts, and I'm gonna go over different time frames of fast, and you got to decide what's right for you. You know what I'm saying? So now, most like Ashley saying, she said, don't do food or you diabetic. Most time when people think about fasting, it is food. It deals with food. You know what I'm saying? So you got some designated period of time that you're not going to eat. That's what's called a normal fast. So a normal fast deals with food. You know what I'm saying? So this is something, again, I'm going to use myself as an example. And this is something I do twice a week. 2 days a week, I do a normal fast. I go 24 hours without eating. So like I normally fast on Wednesdays. I try to fast on Wednesdays and Fridays, depending on my schedule and what I got going on. I might switch around, but what I do is, so like Tuesday night, once I eat dinner Tuesday night, I won't eat dinner again until Wednesday night. That's my 24-hour fast. So that all I'll do that day is drink water. You know what I'm saying? I won't, you know what I'm saying, for 24 hours. So if I eat Tuesday night, like I said, if I eat Tuesday night at 9 o'clock, I won't eat again. And it don't matter what time of dinner, I just won't eat until dinner the next night. That's a normal fast. That's just, staying away from food. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I do that twice a week. I do one for physical reasons. Because I started off just doing it once a week, and then I end up going it twice a week. And I started off, and I'm like I said, I don't keep it 100 with y'all. I started off as just doing it as a physical thing, because it was when I was really getting into my diet and I was trying to lose all the weight. Because y'all remember I lost 100 some pounds a few years back. I gained some of it back. Now I'm back on trying to get it off. But when I really started fasting, I started doing it just for health purposes. Because you think about it, your stomach, you're eating, most people eat 2-3 times a day, but you eat every single day. So your stomach never gets a rest. Your stomach never goes 24 hours without to do something. And that can be bad for your stomach. So you got a lot of internal problems, stomach problems, things like that. Fasting might be good for you. Give your stomach a break. Go just take 24 hours and keep food out of your mouth, fat. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I did it. It started off as, fasting. But then I started noticing as I once I started fasting, and that's why I said, hopefully I'm bringing this up to y'all to bring y'all on conviction. Once I started fasting, I started noticing how in the Bible, when it was talking about fasting, it was always coupled with prayer too. And it's not that I didn't know it at first. I just started noticing, it's just like when you see a car that you never saw before. You're like, man, I never saw that car before. And then every time you go somewhere, you start seeing it, it just starts sticking out. That's kind of how it was. Like I've read the Bible many times, seen what it's talking about fasting and prayer, but I never thought, it just never clicked to put two and two together, because nobody really, talks about fasting anymore. We talk about it, it's in the Bible, but we almost treat it as, oh, that was the old way of doing stuff. No, it's still valid today. It still get power to your prayer today. So again, when I first started off, I was just doing it one day. And then when I started reading my Bible and I started knowing how much power these men of God was getting when they was adding fasting to their prayer, then that's what made me start doing 2 days. So one day I do it just for physical reasons, and then the other day I do it for spiritual reasons. So I do it twice a week. I go 24 hours without eating, and that's my fast. Again, that's what I do for my fast. So that's just food. That's called a normal fast. Now they got another type of fast called an absolute fast. That means no food or water for an extended period of time. You know what I'm saying? They got that. Again, and I know you asking like, how long should you fast, Pat? It don't know. Like I said, I do my fast 24 hours a day. Well, guess what? Jesus and Moses, they did an absolute fast. They did it for 40 days. You know what I'm saying? You look in the Bible when Moses went up on the mountain and got the 10 Commandments for God. It said he was up there for 40 days, 40 nights, and he didn't eat or drink. He didn't eat food or drink water for 40 days. I don't know if I can do that. I love the Lord. I don't know if I can make it 40 days, but he did. He made it 40 days. And if you look at Jesus, when Jesus first came, right before his ministry started, if you know the story over in Matthew chapter 4, I think it's the first few verses of Matthew chapter 4, Jesus got baptized by John the Baptist, and it says when he came up out of the water, he was taken by the Spirit into the desert where he fasted for 40 days and 40 nights, and he was tempted by the devil. So again, you gotta get with God. You know, if you want to go to day like me, or you want to go to 40 days, 40 nights like Jesus, you know what I'm saying? That's with God. But obviously, the Lord led them, Jesus and Moses, to doing the 40 days and 40 nights. So again, nobody can really tell you how long you should do it. Nobody can tell you what kind of fast to do. That's something you got to go to God about. So again, it's different time frames and stuff like that. But that was called when Moses went up on top of the mountain for 40 days and 40 nights, and when Jesus went out into the desert for 40 days and 40 nights, they didn't eat or drink. So that's called an absolute fast. Some people do that. Like when I fast, like I said, all I do drink is water the whole day, but that's it. I don't eat no food or nothing like that. So you got the normal fast, which is just refraining from food for a certain amount of time. You got the absolute fast, where you restrain yourself from food or water for a certain amount of time. Then you also have a partial fast. You know what I'm saying? So a partial fast is cutting out certain kind of foods or meals or pleasures, so to speak. This is actually referred to as the Daniel fast. Because y'all remember in the book of Daniel, in the first chapter, the Lord, Daniel and his brothers, they was getting ready to be, made servants of the king or whatever. So the king gave them certain meats and certain wines to drink. And it says it was delicate, so it made it sound good and like these rich foods. So in other words, they were going to be chowing down. All the guys that were going to serve the king was chowing down. But Daniel knew 9 times out of 10 the meat that they were going to be eating was meat that was going to be offered to idols, or it was going to probably be some pork involved. And the Israelites couldn't eat pork, so he didn't want to defile himself before the Lord. So what he chose to do was eat salads and drink water, because he said pulse, and that's basically what it was. So when the servant, the attendant came to them like, hey, y'all got to eat this food and drink this wine, they were like, man, look, just let me and my brothers, my 3, I still think they were brothers, so I always call them brothers. Let me and my 3 brothers, look, man, and it said he purposed in his heart. So again, it shows the dedication there. That's exactly what I'm talking about. And if you read the book about Daniel, which I talk about and I reference often because it's one of my favorite books, you look at the power that him and his 3 brothers had throughout the chapter. It's because of the fasting that started at the beginning of the book. Because he went to them and he said, it's a partial fast. So he still ate. He ate salad and drank water, but he stayed away from the steaks. He stayed away from the potatoes. You know what I'm saying? He stayed away from the cakes and the cookies and the pies, and he stayed away from the wine. You see what I'm saying? So he was still eating, he was still drinking, but it was certain things that he wasn't eating. And there were certain things that would bring him pleasure that he wasn't eating. You know what I'm saying? He was eating the stuff that was going to keep him close to God. So that's called a partial fast. And then we have another kind of fast, which is a liquid fast, which means for 40 days, all you do is drink liquids. So that means you can drink juices, those juices and stuff like that. I know I had a friend of mine, good friend of mine that I went to junior high with. Me and him, they used to call his brother because we looked just like both 2 big black dudes. And he ended up losing a lot of weight. And it was right as I was getting ready to go on my diet, right as I was starting. And I hit him up like, man, what are you doing, bro? And he said, man, I forgot how many days he said, but I did a juice diet. I can't remember how many days he told me he did it. He might have said a month. He said before a month, all I did was drink liquids. He said it's just juice. You know what I'm saying? So he got him a juicer, and he would make these smoothies basically. But all he did was drink juice and water for a month. He said if I got really hungry, you know what I'm saying, I just wanted to chew on something, he said I would trick my body by eating like a popsicle or something, like a juice popsicle. He said, but that's it, all he did. Again, that's beyond me. My ass off. I can't do that one. You see what I'm saying? But that's something he did. So again, there's different kind of fast you can do, and there's different time slots you can do it. that's between you and the Lord. So if you're thinking about fasting, you want to start fasting, pray to God and ask God what you should fast. Because this is the thing, fasting don't always have to pertain to food and drink. And that's something a lot of people don't understand. It can be anything that you choose to give up for a period of time to grow closer to God. You know what I'm saying? So if you have a problem with sex, you can't keep it in your pants or keep your pants on if you're a lady, then, you know what I'm saying, you can give up sex for a certain amount of time. That will be a fast. If it's drugs, you know what I'm saying, you can give up drugs for a certain amount of time. I know, like, even when I smoked weed, it's been 10 y'all can't believe it's been 10 years that I smoked weed. I can't believe it. But when I smoked weed, every year, 6 weeks before my spiritual birthday, which I got coming up here in next month, I would stop smoking weed. And then 6 weeks before my actual birthday, I was stop smoking weed. Both of those I celebrated. You see what I'm saying? I sit there and I celebrate it. So, you know what I'm saying? So again, you know, you can give up that. If you got a drinking problem and you want to show the Lord that, man, you want his power in your life, give up the alcohol. Maybe go a few days without drinking alcohol if you do it every day. You can do it with technology. And something I'll explain to y'all a little fast that I do here in a second. But you give up technology. If you know what I'm saying, you got a problem with always on Instagram and Facebook and all that, give that stuff up for a certain amount of days. You know what I'm saying? Again, you got to determine what's right. You talk to God about what's right for you, but give it up. Music, certain music. If you don't want to, you know what I'm saying, you want to give up rap music because it didn't turn horrible, give up some rap music. You know, anything that can be a bad influence in your life and pull you away from the Lord, or any kind of pleasure, even if it ain't necessarily a bad pleasure, you know what I'm saying, anything that you want to give up and you're doing it because you want to get God's attention. Lord, you know I love this. You know I don't go a day without this thing. You know what I'm saying? If it's cigarettes, whatever, you know I don't go a day without this thing, but I'm going to give it up because I want to get closer to you. You know what I'm saying? So it don't always have to be food and water. It can be, you know, other things in this world. Again, anything that can possibly keep you away from the Lord, it can be that on there. You know what I'm saying? On well. You know what I'm saying? So matter of fact, like I told y'all, I got a day where I do a physical fast. I just do it for health wise. I'm trying to get, you know, I gained 45 of those, that 100 and some pounds I lost. I gained it back. So I'm now trying to get back down to my 250, so I can get into my bikini body. You know what I'm saying? So I do a physical one, but I also do a spiritual one. So the day I do my spiritual fast, now it's really kind of a mix. It's a combination of a normal fast and a partial fast. So what I do, I don't eat, of course, for 24 hours on that day. I don't eat, so it's like you said, actually intermittent fasting. So I don't eat, but also the day of my spiritual fast, I try to stay away from all known sins. You know what I'm saying? So what am I talking about? Like stuff I know I got a problem with. Like, you know what I'm saying? Y'all ain't gonna believe this, but preacher man, you know what I'm saying? Y'all know I used to be a bad boy back in the day, and I used to love women. So I still like looking at booties, and you know what I'm saying? Women walking around, have their chests out, it might get my attention. You know what I'm saying? I'm being vulnerable, I'm being honest with you guys. I do. I still, so but the day on my spiritual fast, I try not to. Like, even I see a girl, because I was so good that I can spot somebody from a mile away. I be like, oh, there's going to be a booty right there. And I can't wait for her to turn around on me to see it. You know, I don't live, I see somebody, I go the other way. I try to avoid going to Walmart that day, because every time, and let me tell y'all something weird. And this I know that the devil be working. Every single day, I can go to, like, we stay in this little small town. It's rarely in the hot chicks in this town. It's not a lot. You know what I'm saying? It's rare you go into Walmart, you see a hot chick, or especially a thick one. You know what I'm saying? But every single time I'm fasting, if I go to Walmart, it's thickies everywhere. I'm like, this is just the darn devil messing with me. You know what I'm saying? But then what I do, I avert my eyes. I do my best not to look. If I see them on one aisle, I go to the other aisle. You know what I'm saying? I don't have sex that day. You know what I'm saying? Even though, like I said, I'm married with my wife, but that's a pleasure. So I try to stay away from all pleasures. I don't listen to any rap music that day, because I still listen to rap. It's only certain artists I listen to, but they still curse and stuff too, like Kendrick and J. Cole, Andre 3000, guys like that. I still listen to those guys, but on those the fasting day, I only listen to Christian music. You know what I'm saying? I don't listen to Christian music on my fasting days. I don't listen to anything that can possibly be negative. I don't watch any regular TV. I don't watch anything regular TV, because it's going to probably be ads with some gay stuff in it, or beer commercials, or half naked women. I don't watch, you know what I'm saying? I don't watch regular TV. You know what I'm saying? So it's stuff like that I do on my spiritual. I even go as far as, I try not to even break the speed limit. You know what I'm saying? Like when on my spiritual fasting day, like I said, any known sin, because I'm heard about being late, so I'm heard about speeding. So anything I know that I'm doing, I'm not supposed to be doing, I try not to do on that day. And it's funny because where we at from the flood a couple of years ago, we had this one bridge on the main highway that they're working on, so it's down to one. It's only one. It's like two bridges beside each other. And they was double lanes, but because they're working on one, they only got one side open, so it's now single lane. And when you go through there, it's on a 25 miles per hour speed limit. Most people just ride through there going 35, 40. You know what I'm saying? And I usually do too, except for on my fasting day. So my fasting day, I actually set to make sure that I don't go over the speed limit. I actually set my speedometer, my cruise control on 25. And man, you can see people, they be so pissed because I just be going 25 through there. And it has saved me. It's a couple of times I've done that because the highway patrol in the state, because they know people speed through there, it's actually kept me out of tickets because the police was over there posted up. And because I was going 25, I actually kept myself out of ticket and everybody else behind me. But a lot of times, man, once I get out the little 25 zone, I speed up. You can see people, they just drive by, they give me that stinky look like, man, you know what I'm saying? So, but I get so pissed. But I mean, that's the kind of things that I do. So like I said, when I have my spiritual day, I do everything that I can think of. You know, so I try not to curse. You know what I'm saying? I try not to let my mind go through an impure place. You know what I'm saying? I try not to, somebody cut me off. Now I'm not saying that I'm perfect on those days. I'm just telling you what I try to do. And the good thing about a fast, I got a cousin I love to death, Oliver Groves. He's really kind of one of my spiritual counselors. I was already doing it, but he brought it up to me. He said, man, are you fasting? And I'm like, oh, of course. He said, I'm glad. He said, because you need to fast. Because when you fast, especially do a spiritual fast, it shows you how much you need Jesus Christ. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, I try to take one day a week and be perfect, and I have yet to make it through a perfect day without, you know what I'm saying, looking at a booty or cursing somebody in my head or cursing somebody else or having some kind of impure thought or something like that. Something always happen, or I end up being late and I have to speed to work and I said I won't speed. So it can be anything that you want to give up that'll bring you closer to the Lord. You see what I'm saying? So that's what I do in my spiritual fast. So I do that one day a week, every week. And then like for special occasions, so every year I celebrate my birthday. I celebrate my birthday for a week for my birthday and a week before my spiritual birthday. Cause they both exactly 6 months apart. So my spiritual birthday is February 17th and my actual birthday is August 17th. So they're actually exactly 6 months apart. So what I do the week before, so starting on February the 10th, I start a week-long spiritual fast. So where every single week I do it one day a week, and then twice a year I do it for a whole week. So I'm doing all this because, like I said, Pat, I knew people going to have questions. And you don't supposed to talk about your fast. I'm not bragging, and I'm actually get to that down here in a little bit. I'm not bragging on it, but me being a minister and me having to lead by example, I'm trying to give y'all examples of what I do. You know what I'm saying? So you don't have to do what I do. You got to do what's good for you. But this is what I do for my fasting. So again, once a week, I do a spiritual fast. Like I just explained to y'all, I do that once every week. And then, I forgot to mention the most important part of it. So I fast for I make sure I do that for at least 24 hours. And then at the end of the day, I pray. You know what I'm saying? I pray. And I actually get on most times because I'm so busy. I don't get on my knees to pray all the time. Like I would like to. Most time when I'm praying when I'm driving. I'm praying when I'm at work, working in the lab. You know what I'm saying? I'm praying on when I go on my walk. I started walking as exercise. I'm praying then. You know what I'm saying? But the day that I fast, I make sure that when I pray, I get on my knees and pray. And I usually spend about 2 or 3 hours in prayer that day. Again, not bragging. I'm just telling y'all what I do. You see what I'm saying? And I end that day because I'm like, man, if he ain't heard none of my prayers all the rest of this week, I know he's going to hear this prayer today because I've been fasting. And that's literally how I believe. You know what I'm saying? That's why I make sure, I spend time in prayer every day, but I really make sure I am my prayer. I have that prayer ready when I do that fasting prayer because I know, according to the word, that prayer is going to be amplified because I've been fasting for the last 24 hours. I've been staying away from those things that bring me pleasure for the last 24 hours. You know what I'm saying? I can pray for the demons of others. You know what I'm saying? These demons that these people are fighting. I can pray for those demons because I've been fasting. You see what I'm saying? So you got to understand, you got to find out what's good for you. So that's, like I said, that's my routine I want to go through with y'all. They kind of give you some guidance on what you should do. But again, no, Pat, you asked that question, you got to go to God. I don't know what's good for you. I don't know what's the best one for you. There's so many ways you can fast. You know what I'm saying? Go to God, and whatever God put in your heart and tell you, you need to stay away from 24 hours, or you might need to stay with from for a week or whatever. Like I said, on my spiritual fast, I don't get on Facebook. So, February 17th, 10th through 17th, If y'all not seeing me on Facebook, y'all not seeing me posting, is because I'm fasting. The only reason why I have to get on to do the ministry, so I will get on the 10th because I got, ministry. The only way I get on Facebook is for the post for my ministry. So I get on and post, hey y'all, I'm doing the live tonight, and I get on and actually do the live. That was the only reason why I'm gonna be on there, because the show got to go on that way. But as far as scrolling through and looking at posts and liking stuff and wishing people happy birthday, people do. If your birthday between the 10th and the 17th, you probably never got a happy birthday from me on Facebook, because I don't get on there. I don't scroll through. Because, even if, even with as much positive I put out there, it's always some negative stuff. And that's what I do for my spiritual. I try to stay away from anything negative. Matter of fact, I don't even hang around negative people. Y'all know I got a little brother I love to death. And he always managed to call me on the day that I'm fast. I don't answer the phone, because he never has good thing. Everything he talks about is negative. So that's what I do. Anything that's negative, anything that's not of God, I stay away from on that spiritual day. So that's like I said, a partial fast, but it's also mixed with a normal fast. But that's what I do. That's my routine. And like I said, I do that once a week, every week. And then for twice a year, I do it for a whole week. I go 10 days. And you know what I'm saying? So that means I go 7 days without sex, with my wife and everything. And it drives me crazy. Cause like I said, we legally married. We can have sex. It's not that I'm sinning because I'm having sex with my wife. But again, I want to give up that pleasure to show God how serious I am about doing this work, how dedicated I am. And I always have to let them know, like, baby, you come to this, it's about to be February 10th. Like, so I ain't got to smash on, Valentine's Day. That's when everybody get to smash. I ain't got to smash on Valentine's Day. It's been a number of years. But I get it up for the Lord. And that's why this ministry been growing. You know what I'm saying? I make that sacrifice. So again, anything... fast can be anything that you deny yourself from, so you can serve the Lord or show God how dedicated you are. So again, most people, food, water, stuff like that, but it don't have to be that. Get away from technology, get away from this terrible music. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, if I watch TV, it's only Christian shows doing that week. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, this year I'm gonna go back and rewatch The Chosen. So it's only thing that pertain to God. If I listen to music, it's only music that's pertaining to God. You see what I'm saying? Whatever I do, it's only pertaining to God. Only that whole week, I take that week off, and I dedicated that week to doing things of God, staying away from sin. And then I end that week again by praying, get on my knees praying, usually anywhere between 2 and 3 hours. That's what I do. Why? Because I know that fast, a day fast is going to answer your prayer. Imagine a week. You know what I'm saying? Imagine 40. Look what the 40 days did for Moses and Jesus. You see what I'm saying? So you got to understand that. That's why I do it. You know what I'm saying? So again, why do I do that? Why do I subject myself to this self-imposed affliction, especially when some of it ain't even sin? Like I said, sex with my wife is not a sin. I'm married. We supposed to be able to do it. But I take away from that pleasure because, one, I understand the significance of the birth of Christ. You know what I'm saying? And it compels me to do it because I'm like, this little stuff that I'm giving up is nothing compared to what he gave up when he left heaven to come down here to bring salvation to me. See what I'm saying? So if you want to compare it, it ain't even close. So this little stuff I'm doing, it sounds noble, it sounds good, but it's nothing compared to what Jesus did. So one, because I understand the significance of the birth of Christ, it compels me to do it. But two, just like I've been saying all along, that power that it brings to my prayer life, you know what I'm saying? And the blessings it brings to my relationships. You know what I'm saying? Not only relationship with my family and my wife and my kids, but everybody, the relationship I have with you guys. You know what I'm saying? The reason I'm able to influence you guys. Maybe I will get to be an influencer, actually. I don't know. But, you know what I'm saying? I know a lot of the things I'm able to do, a lot of the blessing that I have is because of the fasting I do, me dedicate myself to the Lord. You know what I'm saying? And not only, like I said, not only help bring power to my prayer, help relationship. There's another situation. I promise y'all, I be depriving my poor little wife. I be driving. So when I first gave my life to God, almost 21 years ago, when I gave my life to God, I wanted to get serious about my relationship with God. So now at this time, me and she was on my baby mama then, but me and my wife, we had been together like 4.5 years. I already had 3 kids. You said, well, we had 3 kids, but 2 of them was biologically mine. You know what I'm saying? So we've been smashing. I've been doing that for years. So when that happened to me, I started looking at my life and the things I've done and knowing, you know what I'm saying, how far away from God I had gotten. You know what I'm saying? And things that I was doing that I knew I shouldn't have been doing. So I never forget, I gave my life to God that February 17, 2004, that it was a Tuesday. That following Sunday, I went to church for the first time in forever. And I can't remember how it happened, but somehow I ended up telling my testimony at the church. I don't know how. I think it was one of those situations where I went as a visitor with this guy, and they were like, "Well, what brought you here?" And I just wanted to tell him my testimony. You know what I'm saying? And it helped a lot of people out. And I remember at the end, it passed away from me at the back, and I got no one shook his hand or whatnot. And he was like, and I talked to him. I said, "Pastor, I got a question for you." I said, "So me and my girl, we've been together 4.5 years. We already got 3 kids." I said, "But now I'm serving the Lord. I just gave my life to God Tuesday, and I want to do things the right way. Like, even though we got kids, even though we've been having sex for the last 4.5 years, should I continue to have sex until, because I proposed, I gave my life to God on February 17th, and it's the same day I asked Reg to marry me. So I like, should we continue to have sex, or should I wait till I get married?" And he thought about it for a second. He said, "I tell you what, wait till marriage and see what God do for you." You know what I'm saying? And that's what I did. So I told her, went and told her, "Man, I'm not having sex no more until we get married." And we end up not getting married until we got, I told her that, like I said, the week of February 17th, we didn't get married till April the 10th. So almost 2 months, you know what I'm saying, we went without having sex. You know what I'm saying? And man, she was so pissed, because if y'all know my story, y'all know, and I'll bring it up probably when I tell my testimony, y'all know that I told her that I had been cheating like for a majority of the time we had been together. So I've seen her telling her, and a few days prior, I told her about all this sex I had with all these other girls since we've been together, and now I'm telling her I'm not gonna have sex with her until we get married. And we end up getting married, like I said, it was April the 10th. No, April the 9th when we got married, and it just so happened to be on Good Friday. So we didn't get married until Good Friday that year. You know what I'm saying? But I will tell y'all, we've been coming up this April, been married 21 years. You know what I'm saying? And I love this woman more and more every day. I never imagined being married and being like, nobody in my family was married like this. There's nobody in my life, my family, and my direct, people that had, as far as had influence on me, that had a marriage that lasted the way mine has lasted, and it's still going. Like, it's not even no work. It's work, but it's not work, if you know what I mean, because we meant to be together. And I can tell the differences it had on our relationship because I did that little fast. And you know what I'm saying? To the point where I remember when I first got this job 10 years ago, when I had to move up here to New Johnsonville, we was broke. I had lost my job in like early 2014. I lost my chemistry job. So for all of 2014, I was working at like Taco Bell. And then there was this other little lab I was working at, but they weren't paying me like half of what I was making. So I was hurting, you know what I'm saying? So I finally got this job, my job that brought me up here, like in November, December. So I'm dead broke. So just so happened, this young lady that I used to work with at Sonic, she stayed in this area. I remember she's from Hickman County. I'm in Humphreys County. So they're only about 45 minutes apart. I remember she stayed in this area, but I knew she knew this area. You know what I'm saying? This is a small town, nothing. So I reached out to her like, "Hey, I'm moving up there soon. I got a job up there. I'm moving up there. Could you take me around to the town or whatever?" So I came up here and she showed me where to go and helped me get to my interview and all that stuff. So on the way back, she's like, "So where you going to stay at?" I said, "Well, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, I was flat broke. So I knew it was going to take me at least a couple of months to work to get up enough money to save up enough money to move the family up here." So I said, "Well, it's going to probably take me a couple of months." I said, "So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to stay at a hotel. They got some little cheap hotels up here in this town. So I'm just going to stay at the hotel Sunday night through Thursday night. And then I'm going to go home for the weekend." And she's like, "Man, that's going to be a waste of money." I said, "Why are you doing this?" She's like, she said, "I got an apartment, a 2-bedroom apartment. It's just me and my son. And he don't even sleep in his room. He sleep in my room." So he said, "If you want to, you can just stay with me." Now, this is a young lady. So she was young, very beautiful young lady. You know what I'm saying? And she was, no offense to anybody, but my wife, she didn't really like blondes. She didn't really like, not like she hate them, but she don't, I put it like this, she don't like blondes around her man. Because she's like, you know what I'm saying? She don't like blondes or single moms because she's like, they thirsty. You know what I'm saying? She's like, "I don't like blondes. I don't like single moms. They thirsty. I don't like them around my man," kind of thing. So this young lady was a blonde, and this was like in the beginning stage of our relationship. She told me that. So this young lady is a blonde and a single mom. So I got to go to my wife like, "Hey, I got this opportunity to say it was a buttload of money, but I got to live with this other girl, you know what I'm saying, for 6 to 8 weeks until we get enough money." So I'm thinking like, it's going to be a hell to the no. There ain't no way she's going for that. So I go to her, "Hey, babe, I got an opportunity. My friend, she knew the young lady. Said, my friend, she told me that if I want to, I can just live with her for those 6 to 8 weeks, and no rent and no nothing, just buy my own food and my own toiletry, and I can live there rent free. Like, are you okay with it?" And without even missing, "Oh yeah, cool, go ahead." So I'm like, nah, bro, this is some kind of trick. It ain't no way it's that easy. You know what I'm saying? But she's like, yeah, go ahead. It wasn't, she didn't even sweat. You know why? Because she knew I had self-control. She knew that I loved the Lord. She knew, she saw the change that need in my life that God had made in me. And she knew I had self-control because I had already proved to her because I went 2 months without sex. You see what I'm saying? And you know, it's the sex that I should have been able to do. So she knew I had the self-control to do that because I have self-control. And that's what you do with God. You show God, when you fast, you show him you have the self-control to handle whatever it is he give you. And that's when the blessings come. You see what I'm saying? So that's what I said. So when she told me, I like, bet, and that's what I did. I ended up living with this young lady for 6 weeks. Nothing happened. You know what I'm saying? Now I've been living up in this area for 10 years. But those kind of things, most women wouldn't go for that. You go tell your girl, you try to go telling your girl that, hey, I'm going to go live with this other woman for 6 weeks while I, you know what I'm saying, get this job and see how it goes for you. You know what I'm saying? Most people might have it work out for them, but I don't know. I think my fasting is what did it. It solidified our relationship. It showed her that I have self-control. It showed her that I'm going to do what I'm supposed to be doing, especially when not only dealing with her, but in the eyes of God. You know what I'm saying? That gives her a little bit more confidence too, because she know I'm not going to do nothing to mess up this ministry. She know I'm not going to do nothing to bring shame upon God's face. So she, in doing so, I'm not going to do nothing to embarrass her as well. So she ain't have no problem. I showed her I had the discipline, I had the character, I had the self-control to do that. And so again, these are kind of things you're missing out on by not fasting. And that's why it bothered me. Like, why do preachers not talk about it? And I'm included. Like this is the first time I'm thinking about it, and that's why I said I'm glad God worked it out the way He did. This is the first time I ever did a sermon on fasting. So I'm not just pointing my finger at them. I do fast, and now y'all heard me talk about fasting before. If you watch another of my video, y'all heard me talk about fasting before, but I've never did a lesson on fasting. So I'm just as guilty as everybody else. And that's why I said I'm glad I got this done today, because we're missing out on so much power. We're missing out on power. See, you know, because again, when you look through the Bible, when the men of God really wanted to get something done, anytime somebody was facing some kind of major task, they always faced it with fasting and prayer. You know what I'm saying? And again, fasting has such a wide range. Not only it has such a wide range of benefits. And I'm telling you, by not doing it, by not fasting, not having fasting your prayer, all you're really doing, you're hurting yourself. You're hurting yourself by not doing so. You know what I'm saying? Excuse me. Because fasting has so many benefits, and it does so many things in the eyes of God. Like I said, when you do it, it shows God you have self-control. It shows God you have discipline. It shows God that you're humble. You see what I'm saying? It shows, matter of fact, I'm going to go, and now I'm going to get into something. I'm going to give y'all the Bible verses, and I want y'all to write them down, or maybe go back to the video later, and you know what I'm saying, and rewind. But if you want to show God you're humble, fasting is the best way to do that. You see what I'm saying? You go to Joel chapter 2, verses 12 and 13. Watch what it says. Chapter 2, verses 12 to 13 said, This is why the Lord says, turn to me now while there is time. Give me your hearts. Come with fasting, weeping, and mourning. Don't tear your clothing and grieve. Instead, tear your hearts. You see what I'm saying? In other words, show me you humble. If you really repentant, you know what I'm saying? This can go with repentance as well, which is another one of my points. Show me about fasting. Getting away from those stuff, getting away from the very thing that took you away from me in the first place. That's another over in Psalm. As a song, it shows you your humble. Psalms chapter 69. Shows 69 verse 10. Like I told you, I'm gonna give y'all some Bible verses to go with. I'm not just running my mouth. I'm gonna give y'all some Bible verses to go with these and show y'all the importance of these things. Psalm chapter 10, 69 verse 10. He said, verse 9 said, passion for your house burns within me. So those who insult you are also insulting me. And that's how I feel when I hear them atheists talk about God, bro, and these agnostics. Oh man, it burns me up. I feel on this. He said, so when I weep and fast before the Lord, they scoff at me. You see what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? When I dress in sackcloth to show sorrow, they make fun of me. I am for the favorite topic of the town gossip, and all the drunkards sing about me. You know what I'm saying? They mess with you. And people mess with me because I try not to, you know what I'm saying? And I'm going to get to that in a second. I try not to let people know when I'm fasting, but I'm always getting offered stuff. So like, especially at the job I work at, man, these folks eat all day, every day. They always got some stuff there. So, you know what I'm saying? It's always on either Wednesday or Friday. So they be like, oh, John, we got such and such. I'm like, I'm good today. You know what I'm saying? And a couple of them know that I fast. So they're, oh, you must be fasting. They're like, yeah. Like, man, I don't see how you do it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, and I don't go and look different. I don't, walk around like, the only reason why some people might be able to tell that I'm fasting, because I'm going to warn you, if you've never done this before, I'm going to let you know, when you fasting, you lose so much energy. like you lose so much energy. So I'm often very tired. I'm usually very sluggish. Toward the middle of the day, I start getting very sluggish. I get tired and I get cold. I get very cold. Like the slightest breeze blow and I'm freezing my butt off because you ain't got no energy because you haven't eaten anything. So if you do that, I didn't know that. Well, when I first started, I just had to figure it out the hard way. But when you haven't eaten all day, your energy is low. So, you know what I'm saying? So this stuff like that will tend to happen. So if you're going to do it, be prepared for that. You're going to be weak. You're going to be slugging. And also I get hangry too. I'm using a pissy mood. By the end of the day, I'm in a very pissy mood because I ain't ate every day. I ate nothing. You know what I'm saying? It's like that sneaker commercial. You're not you when you're hungry. So, you know what I'm saying? That happens. But again, you know what I'm saying? I get very hangry. Yes. Usually by the time I'm making home, I'm in a pissy mood. You know what I'm saying? I try not to take it out on the family because they ain't got nothing to do with it. It's just simple fact I'm hungry. But it always seems like they do something to get on my nerves. And it might just be I'm hangry, but they always seem to do something to get on my nerves so I won't want to do on my fasting day. But yeah, you do get hangry. You will find yourself with an attitude. So you really have to, have some self-control. You're going to do that. But those are kind of things that I do. You know what I'm saying? Those are things I do. But it shows, when you do these things, when you fast, it shows God, you know what I'm saying? It shows God that you're humble. And he said, because of your passion, I'm walking around in sackcloth and they laugh at me. You know what I'm saying? They mess with me. You know what I'm saying? So again, you want to show God you're humble, you need to fast. You know what I'm saying? You want to show God that you have control, you need to have self-control, you need to fast. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to go over to Isaiah chapter 58. Isaiah 58, I think verse 6 is what it's, 58 verse 6. He says this. He said, where's verse 6? Let me find it. He said, you humble yourselves. He said, you humble yourselves by going through the motions of penance, bow your heads like a blade of grass in the wind, you dress sackcloth and cover yourselves with ashes. Is this what you call fasting? Do you really think this will please the Lord? So they fake doing it. They trying to please, they just doing it to please the Lord, but their hearts are not really in it. You know what I'm saying? But that's why they do it. They trying to show the Lord that they got some self-control, but they doing it for faith. And that's why Isaiah was getting on them about it. You know what I'm saying? It was false worship. You know what I'm saying? He said, I will tell you why. You know what I'm saying? He said, why is that blah 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 blah. Now that's gonna come up again. But again, to show God that you have some self-control, that's what they try. Oh, see, God, I got self-control. You know what I'm saying? They humble themselves, but they really, it's fake. You know what I'm saying? So again, you want to show God you got self-control, you do it by fasting. You want to show that you have a repentant heart. Again, you do that by fasting. Over in Daniel chapter 9, verses 3 through 5. You know what I'm saying? Daniel showed the Lord that he was repenting of what they did in chapter 9, verses 3 through 5. He says this, he says, so I turned to he said, it was the first year, I'm going to start one. It was the first year of the reign of Darius the Mede, the son of Ahasuerus, who became king of the Babylonians. During the first year of his reign, I, Daniel, was studying the writings of the prophets. I learned from the word of the Lord, as recorded by Jeremiah the prophet, that Jerusalem must be desolate for 70 years. So I turned to the Lord God and pleaded with him in prayer and fasting. And I wore rough sackcloth and sprinkled myself with ashes. You see what I'm saying? I prayed to the Lord, my God, and confessed, O Lord, you are a great and awesome God. You always fulfill your promises of unfailing love to those who love you and keep your commands. But we have sinned and done wrong. We have rebelled against you and scorned your commands and regulations. You have refused to listen to your servants, the prophets, who spoke your messages to our kings and princes and his ancestors and to all the people of the land. See, he was showing that he was really repenting, and he did show that he was really repenting through fasting. You see what I'm saying? Same thing happened with in the book of Jonah. But my time is almost up, so I want to go, but I want to get through these. I want to show y'all that I'm not just sitting there spouting off stuff. I'm going to show you this stuff is very practical, and if you apply it to your life, you get the power of God. So we all know the story of Jonah. Jonah's supposed to go to Nineveh, but Nineveh was a horrible place, and Jonah didn't want to go, and he was afraid, one, for his life, but he was also afraid that the Lord was going to not do what he said, because he told Jonah to go and tell him, hey, you about to get destroyed. Y'all are horrible. You about to get destroyed. You know what I'm saying? Jonah knew there was a possibility that the Lord was going to show mercy, and the Lord ended up showing mercy because those people. I'm going to show you what they did in verse Jonah chapter 3, verses 5 through 9. The Lord tells us this. He says, the people of Nineveh, he said, this time Jonah obeyed the Lord's command. I'm starting at verse 3. He said, this time Jonah obeyed the Lord's command and went to Nineveh, a city so large that it took 3 days to see it all. On the day Jonah entered the city, he shouted to the crowds, 40 days from now, Nineveh will be destroyed. The people of Nineveh that believed God's message, and from the greatest to the least, they decided to go without food and wear sackcloth to show their sorrow. So again, fasting. You see what I'm saying? He said, when the king, watch what happened. When the king of Nineveh heard what Jonah was saying, he stepped down from his throne and took off his royal robes. He dressed himself in sackcloth and he sat on a heap of ashes. Then the king and his nobles sent this decree throughout the city. No one, not even the animals, may eat or drink anything at all. Everyone is required to wear sackcloth and pray earnestly to God. Everyone must turn from their evil ways and stop all their violence. Who can tell? Perhaps even yet God will have pity on us and hold back his fierce anger from destroying. And look, here we go. This is the prayer of fasting. And when God saw that they had put a stop to their evil ways, he had mercy on them and then carry out the destruction that he had threatened. You see what I'm saying? That's what happened with fasting. These was Gentiles. They weren't even praying to God. You know what I'm saying? They weren't even praying to God. They didn't start praying to God to Jonah told them. But when they humbled themselves by fasting, you know what I'm saying? And when they showed God that they were truly repentant by fasting, they got their prayer answered. And instead of their cities being destroyed, they was rescued. So if your life is being destroyed and you want to get that life, you know what I'm saying, you want to get rescued, then start doing you some fasting. Showing the Lord how dedicated you are. You need God's guidance. Again, matter of fact, Pat, you just asked me like, man, how do I fast or what do I need to do? Go to fasting. You know what I'm saying? Just start doing you some fasting. Give up some and you go to God. That's how you get guidance. If you go to Acts chapter 13, verse 2, it says, Acts chapter 13, it says, among the prophets and teachers of the church of Antioch of Syria were Barnabas, Simeon, called the black man. That's funny. And then Lucius and Mahin and Saul. One day, as these men were worshiping the Lord and fasting, the Holy Spirit said, dedicate Barnabas and Saul for the special work I have for them. So after more fasting and prayer, the men laid their hands on them and sent them on their way. See, they found out what God wanted them to do with their life through fasting and prayer. So you see that fasting, it gotta be there. It gets you where you need to be. And the very next chapter, it happened again. And Acts chapter 14, that was Acts chapter 13, verse 1 and 2. And Acts chapter 14, verse 23, kind of same situation. It says, I'm going to start in verse 21. It said, after preaching the good news in Derbe and making many disciples, Paul and Barnabas returned again to Lystra, Iconium, Antioch of Pisidia, where they strengthened the believers. They encouraged them to continue in the faith, reminding them that they must enter into the kingdom of God through many tribulations. Then Paul and Barnabas also appointed elders in every church and prayed for them with fasting, turning them over to the care of the Lord in whom they had come to trust. So again, they gave them the guidance they need by prayer and fasting. So you need guidance. So far we got it shows you that you're humble. We got you. It shows that you have self-control with some of the fasting do. It shows that you truly repented through fasting. You get God's guidance. You want God's power. You go fast. You know what I'm saying? What was the first thing I said? Jesus, if y'all know the story of Jesus, he went, you know what I'm saying? He was 12 years old. He disappeared when he was 12. After 12, we saw a story of him when he was about 12 years old. He disappears, shows back up about 30 years old. And you see him go down to the river, to the Jordan River, get baptized by John the Baptist. And when he came up out of the water, it said, you know, the heavens opened up, the Spirit of God descended on him like a dove, and they heard a voice from heaven saying, well done, this is my son who I'm well pleased. And the very next thing that happened, what? He got taken to the desert where he didn't eat for 40 days and 40 nights. He fasted. And after that happened, you know what I'm saying, he defeated him. Of course, y'all know the story. Satan came and tried to tempt him, said, hey, you know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, he tried to break his fast. He tried to break his fast. He said, oh, if you're really the Son of God, then won't you turn these stones to loaves of bread? You see what I'm saying? Try to get him to break his fast because he knew the power Jesus was accumulating by fasting and being obedient, doing what God said. And what did Jesus say? Man should not live by bread alone. And then he tried to get him to tempt the Lord. Then he tried 3 times. And each time, Jesus shot him down. you know what I'm saying, with Bible verses. Then finally they left him, and they said angels came and ministered to him. So then he ate, and then the next thing you see him doing after fasting, he started preaching, he started healing people. You see what I'm saying? He wanted the power of God on him. You know what I'm saying? Of course, he had the power of God in him, but when he really wanted to come into his power, he spent 40 days and 40 nights fasting. So Pat, if you really want the power of God, get your 40 days and 40 nights in, bro. You know what I'm saying? But again, just pray to God and ask him your guidance on that. So again, you want the power of God. No, that's how you get the power of God, through fasting. You know what I'm saying? If you want to be able to dwell in the presence of God, in God's presence, do it through fasting. Again, we brought it up earlier. Moses, when he was up on Mount Sinai, getting the 10 Commandments. When he went up he said he was up there for 40 days and 40 nights, fasting, then eat and drink water. He was in the presence of God. Matter of fact, when he was in the presence, when he came down, he was in the presence of God, and the presence of God was so strong that it said that when he came down, his face glowed. He actually had to wear something over his face because his face was shining, because he had dwelled in the presence of God for 40 days and 40 nights. So the power of God was radiating through him. Why? Because he was up there fasting and praying the whole time. You see what I'm saying? So if you want to dwell in the presence of God, then that's what you got to do. You got to fast. You see what I'm saying? You want the favor of God in your life, you got to fast. You got to fast. You remember when Saul Daniel started off with fasting. We talked about it already. And then you remember the next chapter, they had a situation where Pharaoh had a dream and he couldn't remember his dream. It was a terrible dream. He couldn't remember his dream. So, you know what I'm saying? So he sent out this decree that, man, if y'all can't tell me my dream, then I'm killing all the wise men. I'm killing all the wise men and enchanters, because obviously y'all fake if you can't tell me this dream. So what happened when Daniel got word of it? What did him and his brothers do? It said they went and prayed and fasted all night. And in the middle of the night, the Lord gave Daniel the answer. See what I'm saying? They needed something from God. They needed something big from God. And they knew the only way to get it was through fasting and prayer. You see what I'm saying? So that's what they did. They went and they fasted and prayed. And when they fasted and prayed, guess what happened? The Lord showed them the dream. The Lord revealed to them King Nebuchadnezzar's dream, and they end up saving the lives of everybody, all of those wise men and enchanters. You see what I'm saying? That's what happened. That's what power. That's the power the fasting has. And then you go over to 663. We see another situation where God's favor come on you through fasting. Is Ezra chapter 8. Fine, I forgot to put that one there. 623. Here we go. Chapter 8. Look. I didn't mark that one. See, this is why I was trying to avoid. See, Ezra is in 663. That's what it was. 663. Chapter 8. Ezra chapter 8 is what I'm looking for. Verse 23. I'm almost there. Ezra chapter 8, verse 23 tells us this. It says, and it said, and thereby the Howard Canal. Okay, here we go. So this is a situation where Ezra was getting ready to go. He was getting ready to go back and build a temple. So he had made this big claim on how good God was and how God always protects and take care of the people. So he felt embarrassed that not to make this claim about how good God is and how good protect people. And then he felt bad to asking the king to send him some soldiers with him to keep them safe and protected. Because, he was afraid the king was like, well, didn't you not say God was going to do that? So in verse 21, it says this. He said, in verse Ezra chapter 8, verse 21, he said, and thereby the Ava Canal, I gave orders for all of us to fast and humble ourselves before our God. We pray that he would give us a safe journey and protect us, our children, and our goods as we travel. For I was ashamed to ask the king for soldiers and horsemen to accompany us and protect us from our enemies along the way. After all I had told the king, our God protects all those who worship him, but his fierce anger rages against those who abandon him. So we fasted and earnestly prayed that our God would take care of us, and he heard our prayer. You see what I'm saying? They needed favor. They needed the favor of God. So what they did, they went to that fasting and prayer. See what I'm saying? And each time it was fasting and one just prayer. It was fasting and prayer because they gave up something to get something. They made their sacrifice so they can give something from God. And I got a couple more examples. I know I'm over my time, but these I want to, like I said, I'm glad God did that so I can bring this to y'all today. You know what I'm saying? But, you want favor, you know what I'm saying? You go to fasting and prayer. If you want God's favor for other people, You fast can do that. Because y'all remember, again, back to Daniel. When I go to Daniel, because there was a lot of fasting in Daniel, and we can see why Daniel had so much influence like he did. Back then, y'all remember when the king found him, when the guy set Daniel up through his prayer, because we actually talked about that in the last video. Remember, they set him up, and he ended up having to throw Daniel into the lion's den. Well, if you read that story, after he threw Daniel in the lion's den, guess what the king did? The king himself, he fasted. You look at the king and said, he said, I'm reading. He said, the king sealed the stone with his own royal seal and the seals of his nobles, so that no one could rescue Daniel from the lion's den. Then the king returned to his palace and spent the night fasting. He refused the usual entertainment and couldn't sleep at all that night. So again, he went fasting. His usual entertainment. So it shows right there, it validates what I'm telling you. It don't always have to be food and water. It can be. It don't always have to be. The king, you know what I'm saying, normally, he was the king. He probably had weird orgies and all kind of stuff that he normally do for him to bed. He gave away all that in fasting so he can bring favor on Daniel because he wanted Daniel to be safe in the lion's den. You see what I'm saying? So you see that. And then there's a situation where David, he was actually praying. Now the people messed him over, but he was actually praying for some people, God to have favor on some people live in Psalm chapter 35, verses 13 through 14. And I'm going through that because I want to get all these examples in y'all. So I want y'all to see this. I'm hoping y'all are writing these down so y'all will have these, at hand when it's time, when you think about this and understand how important it is. So in Psalm chapter 35, this is some people that was doing David wrong. And David was like upset, like, man, I can't believe this because I was praying for y'all. And I'm going to start at verse 11. So Psalms chapter 35, verse 11 said, malicious witnesses testify against me. They accuse me of things I didn't even know about. They repay me with evil for the good I do. I am sick with despair. Yet when they were ill, I grieved for them. I even fasted and prayed for them, but my prayers returned unanswered. I was sad as though they were my friends or my family, as though if I was grieving for my own mother. So you see what I'm saying? He was praying for favor for these other people, but the prayers returned because he didn't know they was doing him dirty behind his back. So the very people he was praying for, they was doing him dirty, and the Lord took care of it. But he was praying and he was fasting and praying for these people. You see what I'm saying? Because he wanted them to have favor. So again, I know people don't talk about fasting often, and that's why I wanted to get out there all these examples. People don't talk about fasting often, but it's important. A lot of major things. I can go on and on about it. You know what I'm saying? There was a situation where a lady needed. There was a situation. This queen, her name was Esther, and she was this one guy named Haman. He wanted to eradicate all the Jews. And just so happened, Esther, through a long series of events, that's another one of my favorite stories. She ended up becoming the queen. You know what I'm saying? So her uncle who raised her went to her and be like, hey, this dude want to eradicate the Jews. You need to go to the king and talk to the king about it. Now, the problem was the only way a woman can come before the king is if the king requests her. Even though she was the queen, it ain't like y'all American women today where you just rush in and to your man's room. Like if you went before the king and he didn't invite you and he didn't hold out his golden scepter, then you had to die. So he went to Esther like, hey, you need to go before the king. And at first she's like, nah, I ain't doing that. And then he was like, hey, don't think just because you're the queen, you're going to be safe. He said, once they find out that you're Israelite, they're going to kill you too. So you know what she told him to do? She said, all right, I tell you what I'll do. You go and tell all the Israelites, all the people in the land, tell them to fast. Don't eat or drink anything for 3 days. Me and my servants are going to do the same thing. And then I'm going to go before the king. And of course, she went before the king. The king helped out her scepter. And of course, if you know the story, she ended up saving all the lives of the Israelites. You see what I'm saying? She needed some favor. She needed God's protection, and she prayed and fasted so she can get that protection. So there's just another element of what praying and fasting do. Same thing. It can save the salvation of others. There was a situation where David, y'all know the situation with David and Bathsheba. Y'all know what he did. I ain't got to get into the details of that, the dirty details of that. But David basically had an affair with this woman, and then in order to cover it up, he had the woman's husband killed. You know what I'm saying? So Nathan the prophet confronted David about it and told David he was going to lose the child. So even though he knew he was going to lose the child, what he tried to do, he tried to get the power of God behind him by fasting and praying. And if you read the story, it's over. I ain't going to have time to get to it, but it's over in 2 Samuel. I can't remember exactly what chapter, but I know it's verses 15 through 17, somewhere in 2 Samuel. But what he did, he was fasting and praying. He wouldn't even eat for days. And he was like, you know what I'm saying? He was fasting and praying. And then when the baby finally died, you know what I'm saying? The people, his administrators, they were scared to even talk to him. You know what I'm saying? So when the baby died, they were scared. They're like, oh my goodness. Like, man, he even acting like this because he basically just put himself in sackcloth and balled up on the floor in the middle of the floor and wouldn't move, wouldn't eat, wouldn't do anything. Just laying on the floor. You know what I'm saying? Fasting and praying. So when the baby died, they didn't even want to tell him because they were thinking, man, this nigga gonna probably kill himself. If he doing all this and the baby's still alive, imagine what's gonna happen when the baby died. So they over there whistling in the court and David hears him. And he's like, you know what I'm saying? What y'all whistling about? So he said, I'm guessing the baby dead. And they're like, yeah. So when he said that, he said, okay. And he got up and cleaned himself off and went and ate. So I was like, man, hold on. What is going on here? Like, when the baby was alive, you was fasting and praying. When eat, and now the baby's dead and you up and you cool. And like, well, they like, I don't understand. He's like, yes. He said, because when the baby was yet alive, I figured if I fasted and prayed, maybe the Lord would spare his life. He said, but now he's gone. It ain't no point. He's already gone. He said, I can't go to him no more. But he said, no, he can't come to me no more. He said, but someday I'm going to go to him. So there also is a proof of, you know, some heaven and the afterlife. Because he said, David said that, he said, my son can no longer come to me. He said, but someday I will go to him. But see, he was fasting and praying because he knew the power behind fasting and prayer. Because you saw David, everything David did, he always prayed before. You see what I'm saying? And the last example, another thing that fasting does for you, it shows sorrow. If you look over in 2 Samuel chapter 1, when Saul had died, even though he ended up being a horrible king, the people showed their sorrow by fasting and praying. And then over in the book of Nehemiah, when the Israelites was uprooted from the land, they showed sorrow through fasting and prayer. You know what I'm saying? Look at 2 Samuel chapter 1, verse 12, and then Nehemiah chapter 1, verse 4. I ain't got the time way over. I ain't got the time to go through them. I would love to, but I don't want to hold y'all too much longer because I think it may be something that might be clocking out. But I think this is so important. I want you to see, and I went through all those examples, and I gave you all those Bible verses because I want you to understand just how important fasting is. Yes, we don't talk about it all the time, and you know what I'm saying? I bring it up from time to time, but you don't supposed to brag on it because the thing is, fasting can also work against you as well. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I know I'm talking about it tonight. I gave y'all my example because I'm teaching on fasting. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I brought it up. That's why I told y'all what I do. It's not a bragging situation with me being a minister and me being y'all leader. You know what I'm saying? Y'all got to follow my example. So I'm giving y'all an example of what I do. And now you take it and do what you want to with it. But you're not supposed to brag. If you look at Jesus, when Jesus was teaching about fasting and praying, he was like, man, don't do it. He's like, if you're going to fast, you know what I'm saying, get dressed. You know, be like, he said those guys that they make their hair all matted up and they don't put oil on themselves and they do their best to look distraught because they want somebody to say, are you okay? He said, he said, that's the kind of person you are. He said, you know what I'm saying? That fast, that only glory you're going to get from that fast is what you're going to get from men. He said, when you fast, get dressed, put lotion on yourself. He said, you should look the same way you do when the day you fast, you should look the same way you do when you don't fast. He said, don't brag. He said, if you bragging on it, then you ain't going to get no credit for it. And again, I'm not bragging on it. I'm teaching y'all. I'm teaching and I'm doing this lesson, so I'm not bragging on it, but it's not something you're supposed to talk about. That's why I say, Pat, I can't tell you what you need to do. You go to God and get the guidance. But whatever God tell you to do, don't brag. Don't be on Facebook, oh man, I'm about to get in this fast. You know what I'm saying? I'm about to do this fast. Like I said, I'm telling y'all so y'all will be aware because I'm teaching y'all that I'm not going to be on Facebook for a week from February the 10th through the 17th. I'll probably mention again, and that's because I don't want people to think I'm ignoring them or I'm mad at them or something. I'm not going to be on I'm not going to be on Instagram. I'm not going to be on TikTok. I'm not going to be on none of this stuff for the week from February the 17th. I stay away from all social media. You see what I'm saying? I stay away from all that because I'm fasting. Because again, you know, fasting, if you're bragging on it, then it can go wrong with you. You know what I'm saying? Because it's good, but if your intent is wrong, then it can take you in the wrong way. So again, it's not something you should be bragging about. And it's also not something that makes you more righteous than others. Because I know I said earlier, oh, your prayers will get above other prayers. It's not because you're more self-righteous. It's because it amplifies your prayers. But that don't mean your prayers is more important than other people's prayers. But some people, because they fast, they think that they're better than other people. You know what I'm saying? There's a story. I do want to read this story. There's a situation over in the book of Luke where there was this Pharisee that did that. And Jesus had to correct him. Jesus was giving the story about this Pharisee and how this Pharisee was fasting. And he tried to use fasting to show how righteous he was. Over in the chapter of Luke, chapter 18, he tried to use fasting to show how right he was. And Jesus was like, no, he wasn't. Luke chapter 18, it says, he's talking about, he said, it was a parable. He said, so then Jesus told them this story to some of who had great self-confidence and scorned everyone else. So those goody two shoes. He said 2 men went to the temple to pray. One was a Pharisee and the other was a dishonest tax collector. Now, if you know a Pharisee, that's basically the head of the church. Those were the church people. Those were the higher ups in the church. So that's when you hear Pharisee, that's what they was. So it says the proud Pharisee stood by himself. Now, you notice he called him pride. Proud Pharisee, that meant it wasn't a good thing. He said the proud Pharisee stood by himself and prayed this prayer. I thank you, God, that I am not like I'm not a sinner like everyone else, especially like that tax collector over there. For I never cheat, I don't sin, I don't commit adultery, I fast twice a week, and I give you 1/10 of all my income. So he used that fast. See, I fast twice a week, and I feel bad because I just told you I fast twice a week. I'm hoping I'm not that guy. But you know what I'm saying? But he said, I fast twice a week, and I give you 1/10 of my income. You know what I'm saying? So he tried to use fasting of proving his righteousness. But then Jesus said, but the tax collector stood at a distance and dared not to even lift his eyes up to heaven as he prayed. Instead, he beat his chest in sorrow, saying, "Oh God, be merciful to me, for I am a sinner." I tell you this sinner, not the Pharisee, returned home justified before God. For the proud will be humbled, but the humble will be honored. You see what I'm saying? So he was pride. He let the fact that he was fasting be a source of pride to him, and it ended up being his downfall. You see what I'm saying? So you got to be careful with it. And the verse I read earlier, I think I misread. I must have wrote my notes down. I was going so fast. You know, over in Isaiah chapter 58, this will be the last Bible verse. But we also see a situation where the fasting was not, it actually didn't work in their advantage. If you go over to Isaiah chapter 58, 1-7, he says this. He says, shout with the voice of the trumpet blast. Tell my people Israel of their sins. Yet they act so pious. They so arrogant. They come to the temple every day and seem delighted to hear my laws. You would almost think this was a righteous nation that would never abandon its God. They love to make a show of coming to me and asking me to take action on their behalf. See what I was talking about earlier? You know what I'm saying? People that love to say, "Oh, I'll pray for you," but their hearts ain't really in it. He said, they love to come to me and make a show of coming to me and asking me to take action on their behalf. We have fasted before you, they say. Why aren't you so impressed? We have done so much penance and you don't even notice it. I will tell you why. It's because you are living for yourselves even while you are fasting. So again, fast, you gotta your intent behind your fasting is very important. He said you are living for yourselves even while you are fasting. You keep right on oppressing your workers. What good is fasting when you keep on fighting and quarreling? This kind of fasting will never get you anywhere with me. You humble yourselves by going through the motions of penance, bowing your heads like a blade of grass in the wind. You dress in sackcloth and cover yourself with ashes. Is this what you call fasting? Do you really think this is the will of the Lord? No, the kind of fasting I want calls you to free those who are wrongfully in prison and to stop oppressing those who work for you. Treat them fairly and give them what they earn. I want you to share your food with the hungry and to welcome poor wanderers into your homes. Give clothes to those who need them and do not hide from the relatives who need your help. You know, if you do these things, your salvation will come like the dawn. Yes, your healing will come quickly. Your godliness will lead you forward, and the glory of the Lord will protect you from behind. Then will you call the Lord? Then when you call, the Lord will answer. Yes, I am here, and He will quickly reply. So see, He's saying if you fasting with the right intentions behind you, if your heart in the right place while you're fasting, then that gets His attention. So just fasting ain't gonna do it. Now I know I've been talking about you gotta make sure your heart is in the right place, because if not, it's gonna take you to the wrong place and they can actually work against you. So it's just like everything else in this world. You know what I'm saying? Nothing other outside the love of God and the word of God is absolute. So just like everything else, there is good and that is bad that can come from fasting, especially if you let that fasting be a source of pride in your heart and make you feel like you're more righteous than other people. You know what I'm saying? But only those that truly understand the significance of the birth of Christ will have the discipline they need and the other characteristics they need to do it the right way. You know what I'm saying? And they'll be able to, when they do it the right way, when you do it the right way, you'll be able to bring the true power of God into your lives, you know what I'm saying, through the prayer that you pray, because you will amplify those prayers because you put the fasting with it. So tonight's lesson, lesson number 23, if you really understand the significance of the birth of Christ, you will have the discipline in your heart to fast. You know what I'm saying? The discipline you need, the dedication you need, the self-control you need, and the humility you need to fast. And that will bring the true power of God into your life. So I know I went over y'all. Like I told her, like when I got to go, I'm like, man, thank you, Lord, because it was so much here. And I actually cut a lot out. You know what I'm saying? But I'm hoping this helps some of y'all. I'm hoping to bring you on a conviction if you're not fasting, if you've never fasted before. Like I said, reach out to me. I can give you ideas. I can't tell you what you need to do. That's between God. That's between you and God. I can't tell you this is what you need to do and this is how many days you need to do it. I'd be a liar and I'd be trying to play God if I do. Talk to God. You know what I'm saying? If you got something you know you need to give up, you got something that's become this become before Him and it's taking you away from Him. That's the thing I would give up. Like I said, whatever it's alcohol, drugs, women, or sex, whatever it is. Like I said, no, I take those 2 weeks every year and I just get away from all pleasures and I do it once a week as well. You know what I'm saying? Give those things up so you can get the power of God in your life. So when you're giving up throwing those prayers up there, you're not just throwing up those prayers up there without power. You really bring some power to those prayers because you're adding fasting to it. Because like I said, the fasting amplifies those prayers. It's a steroid shot. You know what I'm saying? The prayers are powerful, but the fasting and prayer, that's prayer on steroids. And that's what you want to get. That gets God's attention and that gets the power of God in your life. So thank y'all for joining me tonight. I know I went a little bit over. Like I said, I thought about it. It's like I've never done a thing on fasting. And like I said, this brought me on the conviction myself. Because I've been preaching to y'all and I've talked about fasting, but I've never taught a lesson on fasting. But the Lord knew that somebody needed to hear this. Patrick, I think you said you need to hear this. So I hope this helped you. I'm sorry it took me so long. I went a little bit over, but it's saying y'all know how I get down. You know what I'm saying? When the Spirit's moving me and I think people really need to hear this, then, you know what I'm saying, I put that time in. I don't mind the time at all. And I just hope that it was able to help some of y'all. So with that being said, end of the announcement as always. Is there anything particular that you haven't, and I haven't talked about that you'd like for me to talk about in a certain subject? Is it something you're going through in your life you would just like to see me do a lesson on it? Inbox me. Let me know, and I'll work into my lesson plan. As of right now, next Monday will be another one in this. Now, that'll be the last one. So the one next Monday, on February the 3rd, that'll be the last one in this series for now. So then the 10th, I'll be doing my salvation message. I always do the share the gospel. So I'll be doing it on the 10th and then the 17th. So I gave I'm actually excited about this year because I gave my life to God on February 17th. And the Monday, the third Monday of February is going to be February 17th. So I actually get to share my testimony with y'all on the actual day I gave my life to God. How awesome was that? So I'm actually excited about that. So that's the game plan for the next few weeks. But again, if you got anything I haven't covered already, reach out to me and let me know. Keep sharing the videos. Tell other people about the videos as well. I appreciate y'all doing that for me. The ministry has been growing. Again, my buddy Dylan, like I said, I already made the announcement. I was going to make it now, but y'all be looking forward. Like I said, this weekend, we should have the website up and going. We're going to have a Lost Ministries website. I'm also going to have a Lost Ministries, a Facebook page specifically for the ministry. It won't be my personal page. It'll be specific for the Lost Sheep Ministry. So I hope y'all support that. Go follow it and, tag people in and all that good stuff. But, man, this ministry look to be growing. You know what I'm saying? We've been going through some stuff this year, but I told God I don't care what. I'm going to keep doing the work. I still been doing my fasting and praying. And, man, I think He's just rewarding. So I'm interested to see what this year is going to bring, what God's going to do with this next step in the ministry. And I appreciate y'all support because y'all been helping me get there. So, again, keep sharing the videos, telling people about the videos. And like I said, next Monday, we should have the website up. I'll give y'all the link, the description or the address, the web address. I might write it on a piece of paper like I do this other stuff. And it'll have you know what I'm saying? So it'll have my Instagram on there. It'll have my Facebook on there. It'll have my YouTube on there. All my social media, TikTok, all this stuff will be on there. So you can go to one place and it'll be linked to all of them. So I'm so excited about that. And y'all keep praying for that. Pray and fast for that, so the Lord will make it successful. And I hope I can be an influencer and hopefully influence this world to come back to some common sense and get their heart back to the Lord. So always, if you're not 100% sure you're watching this video, not 100% sure when you go through that door called death, you're going to get to see Jesus on the other side, please reach out to me and let me know. Reach out to me and let me know so I can set up some time to go over the gospel with you. And if you need any kind of spiritual counseling, got any questions, and that's the cool thing about the website. He put it on the website where you can either hit a button and put in a prayer request, or you can hit a button and if you got some kind of question, need some kind of spiritual counseling, we can get appointments set up. It's so cool, man. So again, Dylan Etheridge, appreciate you, bro. Man, I appreciate that the effort. It's something I've been wanting to do. I just ain't had the time, and now the Lord has provided me somebody that actually had the time to do it and know how to do it. So, man, I'm so excited about that to see where it's gonna go. So, again, you need spiritual counseling and everything. Right now, you just got to inbox me. But after the start next week, you should be able to go to my website and reach out to me, and I can set some time up, and we can I can share whatever little wisdom the Lord's given me. I can share with you. And this might be the last time me holding this up, but if you want to go to my YouTube page, this is it, God's Servant / Lost Sheep Ministries. Make sure you type the whole thing in like that, and it'll take you to my channel. Make sure you subscribe and like the videos and all that good stuff, because that helps get traction as well. So I'm sorry we're going over, and I know I'm kind of rushed toward the end, but I wanted to get all that in because it's so important. Like I said, I don't see a lot of people talking about fasting no more. I don't see a lot of people participating in fasting no more, and you don't realize what you're missing out on because you're not doing those things. So if you won't get power in your prayer, you want to show God that you're serious about your relationship with him, give up some stuff. Look at your life, pray on it, look at your life, look at what you spend most of your time on. If it's not God, if you spend most of your time in the Bible and prayer and all that, you don't give up that stuff. But look at the worldly things that you spend your time and effort on, and just give it up, whether it's a day or a week, you know what I'm saying? However, ask God how much time you should give it up. Like I said, I do 24 hours once a week and 2 weeks, twice a year. You know what I'm saying? So that's what the Lord put on my heart. Moses and Jesus gave up 40 days. You know what I'm saying? So, just whatever the Lord put on your heart, pray for it. The Lord touch your heart. You don't want to do that. And if you really understand the significance of the birth of Christ, you will have the discipline to be able to do it. So I'm going to go ahead and pray and get out of here. Dear Lord and Father, thank you so much for watching over us tonight. Thank you so much for this wonderful message on fasting, Lord. First time in the whole 20 years I've been preaching, Lord. First time I ever did a lesson on fasting, Lord. And I feel it was needed, especially for my people. I kind of feel bad. Like I said, I came under conviction about it as well, because I've been knowing the power of it. Everything I share with them, I've been knowing all this time, and I've never shared it with them, Lord. I've mentioned fasting, but I've never really just dove into why it's so important and what it really does and how many aspects, because it does so much. It shows, that we're sorrowful. It shows that we're humble in ourselves. It shows that we're repentant. It shows that we want your favor. It shows that we're dedicated to you. It does so many things, and it just kind of gets swept under the rug. It's almost like the side chick almost, and nobody pays attention to it, when in reality it should be on the forefront, Lord. So I pray that I brought off this truth tonight. I pray that this truth will help those that listen to it, Lord. I pray it touch the hearts of those that need to hear it and bring them under conviction and get them to want to do the work that you have for them to do, Lord. And I pray you just continue to let this ministry grow. Thank you for this brother Dylan that's reached out. And my brother Mark asked for as well. He kind of gave me some ideas on what to do, Lord. I thank you for these two gentlemen and giving them the willingness to work with me to get this ministry to growing even more, Lord. And I just thank you so much for these faithful people that's here, and they let me run my mouth. I be late all the time and run my mouth way past the time, but they always hear. And I believe it's not because of me, it's because of you. They want to truly hear your word. They want to hear the things that the Spirit has for them, Lord. And I pray that the Spirit has worked on their heart today and brought them under conviction about this subject and give them the want to do something about it and change their lives and change their ways and dedicate themselves, get the discipline and self-control they need and the humility they need to spend some time fasting and praying, giving up some things so they can get closer to you. I pray you be with us as we finish up this night. Pray we have a good, safe, peaceful night's rest. I pray you be with all those in the military, law enforcement, rescue service, and medical service, all those service people that put their health, life, and safety at risk for the protection of others, Lord. Keep them safe and protected while they serve and getting the wisdom to make the right decisions, especially when it comes to life and death situation. Be with all my people, Lord, all those that are sick. It's so many that are sick and dealing with cancer and all kind of other flu and COVID and all kind of things, Lord. Just keep your hands upon them as a Jehovah Rapha, so they may heal from what they're going through, so they may be able to continue to faithfully serve you. Lord, I pray you be with this ministry. Again, continue to help it grow, prosper, reach out to the community, change the lives of others, capture lost souls of men. I pray you be with me and my family. Give us the encouragement and enthusiasm we need to continue to go forth doing this work, Lord, no matter what's going on in our lives and in the physical world. I pray you help us never forget the work that we have to do for the spiritual world. And I pray you continue to grow. I pray you be with all my ministry members, be a wall of protection around them, keep them safe and protected from the attack of the enemies, whether it's physical or spiritual. And I pray you give me a power, love, and wisdom over any problem may arise that may keep them from doing the work you have for them to do. And I pray, Lord, that you watch over this world as a whole. I pray for the day when the world as a whole will humble ourselves, pray, seek your face, and turn from our wicked ways, so you may hear from heaven, forgive our sins, and heal our lands. Thank you for this time tonight. I pray that it's productive. I pray it's what you wanted from me, Lord. I pray that this word touch the heart of those that's watching it. And if they've never fasted before, if they never, I pray they come under conviction and will have the willingness and the dedication to make that sacrifice so they may come closer to knowing you and may they do the work you have for them to do. Thank you for this time tonight. Thank you for this ministry. Thank you for these people. Thank you for your word. And thank you for using me and my family in a mighty way. We love you and thank you for all you've done and given. Say this prayer in your wonderful Son, Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. Man, I almost feel like I lost my voice there. It's getting a little raspy or something. But man, I pray y'all enjoyed that. Sorry for keeping you so long, but I think it was worth it. I hope it helps. Like I said, if you got any question on fasting, I can only give you guidance. I can tell you what you need to do. If you need to know exactly what you need to do, you need to know how long you need to fast, what you need to fast. Go to the Lord. You got to go to the Lord on that. You know what I'm saying? Go to the Lord, and then I can only give you suggestions. Like I said, I'll share y'all what I do, and I do know it works. You know what I'm saying? I feel the power of my prayers. I see my prayers being answered, and even when the times are rough, I always seem to make it through. And I'm sure it's because of God's grace that comes on me because I fast. I make sure dedicated every dedication day to Him every week, and again 2 weeks every year. You know what I'm saying? And I feel the power that comes to me and the power of my prayers because I do so. And I want y'all to have the same. And that's why I shared that with y'all tonight. So I love y'all. Thank y'all. Continue to fast and pray for me. And I continue to fast and pray for you all, which is, I do pray for y'all when I fast. So y'all continue to fast and pray for me. I continue to fast and pray for y'all. And remember, no matter what's going on, I love you all. And I always watch your back and pray. So be back next Monday, 7 o'clock. We're going to do one more lesson on this. And then we're going to get into our 3-week special period, what I like to call it. But I hope to see you all back. Thank y'all for hanging in there with me tonight. And I pray this bless you. I love you all. And until next time, peace.